preview yet? I guess, yeah, it's not rich. Okay, so I'll call you back in about 6 minutes, and then I'll just go on with freaking intro right about 10 after. That work? Do you need me to call you, or can you just watch for it? Okay, I'll do that. Thanks, Daddy. Preview's there, looking good. Well, I'm gonna take one more come back and we'll do this. Let's see, I guess. Okay. Yep, I'm just about to hit start. So, I don't know how far. I guess we didn't figure out how far behind we are, but you can just watch for it. Okay. So, as soon as my computer says 12:10, I'll hit go. Actually, yeah. I'm going to hit go in just a second here. So, thanks. Bye. I'm going to start it. You ready?
Big O Tires of Evanston presents Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 with video online at kadqradio.com. Today's match is brought to you by these Rebel supporting businesses and individuals. Cowboy Motor Company, save a horse, buy from Cowboy. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Castle Rock Chevrolet, we are Chevrolet. Wyoming Dental Specialists and Rocky Mountain Care, simply the best care. Today's starting lineups are brought to you by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff. The beginning serve of each set is brought to you by The Station in Randolph, and your scoreboard sponsor for today's broadcast is You Win a Title. And now it's time for a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Sports on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at kadqradio.com.
Good afternoon and welcome to Altamont High School. Ryan Steinekert here with the Lady Rebel pregame show. Welcome to Altamont High School, and today the Rebels taking on the Altamont Longhorns. Ryan Steinekert here bringing you all the action. You can watch it online at kadqradio.com, and of course tuning in to 98.3 FM. KADQ. First service scheduled for about 20 minutes from now, and in the meantime, we have our pregame show brought to you here by Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball. Now, in this segment of the pregame show, we'll talk about today's action. It's a back into region action tonight, or this afternoon, for the Rich Rebels, who played at Cokeville last night and took a tough loss, suffered a tough loss at the hands of the Cokeville. 3-1 was the final in that one. I was talking with Coach Cindy Stewart a few moments ago. She said that the folks in Cokeville, especially the players, were real pumped up about the match. They had a big community member who suffered a stroke, so it was an emotional time for the folks in Cokeville. And on top of that, it was their homecoming night. They were pumped up, and they played emotionally. They played well, and they got the victory. And Coach Stewart, meanwhile, said, she said, frankly, our team, we did not play well. And that was what suffered the loss, or part of what caused the loss for the Rebels. She said they just didn't pass the ball well. So with that loss, the Rebels dropped to 6-6 overall this season, and that's their first loss in a couple of matches. But they're getting back into region play here today, and still undefeated in Region 17. Now, Tabiona's 3-1, and we know that last time Rich was in action in region play last Friday night, they hosted Tabiona, got the win in that match, 3-0 in 3 straight. It was a pretty easy win for the Lady Rebels, and that being said, they're saying that there was a pretty easy win. That was over a Tabiona team that's improved greatly over the last couple of years, and especially was coming in looking pretty good this season. But Rich got the win in that one, 25-12, 25-14, and 25-16. But then again, lost last night to Cokeville in 3-1. Lost in 4 matches, or 4 sets rather. So Rich is 4-0 in Region 17. Tabiona is 3-1. Manila 2-2. Duchesne 0-3. Altamont also 0-3. And Altamont, so they come into this match, as I mentioned, 0-3 in the region. And they've suffered some tough losses, but their coach
Jill Hicken feels pretty good about where the team is at and how they're playing. She sees some marked improvement from the team, from the players, and it's their homecoming week, so this could be an emotional match for them as well here this afternoon. In the matches that already took place, the freshman match, Rebels won in 4, 3-1. Right now, the JV match is in set number 2, and we'll get you some of the bonus coverage. You can watch some of that match as we bring you the pregame show. But right now, the Rebels leading 12-11. Make that 12-12. We're tied up in set 2. The Rebels took the first set 25-9. Well, stay tuned. We got more coming up here on our pregame show here at Altamont High School. It's a beautiful facility. They just remodeled, finished it up for this season, for this school year, and it's actually now possibly the nicest gym in the region. It's a real nice facility, big bleachers, track around the top of the gym. We're up on the track. If you're watching at kadqradio.com, you can see across the way the bleachers have AHS, of course, for Altamont High School. A lot of red, a lot of white out there for the Longhorns of Altamont. Well, stay tuned. We've got our pregame show coming up, or more of our pregame show coming up, including interviews from Altamont head coach Jill Hicken and Rebels head coach Cindy Stewart. That's all coming up on our pregame. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more of our pregame right after this. You're listening to a Big O Tire of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ 98.3 FM, and watch the game online at kadqradio.com.
Long lines and slow traffic. Gas prices on the rise? Save yourself a trip to the big city by stopping first at Cowboy Motor Company. You no longer have to get out of Dodge to find the best deals on vehicles. Cowboy Motor Company has them in stock. Expanding inventory and plenty of money available for lending, you can now get into Dodge at Cowboy Motor Company. Strength, honesty, and integrity. The Cowboy way. Cowboy Motor Company, 100 Wasatch Road in Evanston.
It's time for the pre-winter checkup special.
Big old tires, we go the extra mile, revving up the service to make you smile. We're in the business of customer pleasing, all the right service for all the right reasons.
Receive an oil change, 22-point inspection, brake check, and tire rotation for just $59.99.
Extra miles, the way we go, we got you covered at Big O.
Big O Tires in Evanston, 607 Cheyenne Drive.
Time now for the Cindy Stewart pregame coaches show, brought to you by Bear Lake Realty in Garden City. Gary McKee. We'll be right back to talk with Coach Jill Hicken of the Altamont Longhorns right after this. You're listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ 98.3 FM, and watch the game online at kadqradio.com.
Come see why the Bear Lake Valley has become one of the hottest real estate markets in Utah. The Reserve, Bear Lake's finest resort, is a masterfully planned recreation community nestled in the beautiful Bear Lake Valley. Luxurious mountain getaways overlooking the turquoise waters of Bear Lake. With lowering interest rates, it's a great time to buy. To find out how to make the Bear Lake Valley your next home or vacation getaway, contact BearLakeRealty.com. That's BearLakeRealty.com.
I'm here with Altamont Longhorn head coach Jill Hicken. And, Coach, thank you for joining me for our pregame interview today.
Yep, you're welcome.
How do you feel like things are going for your team so far this season?
We've actually been really excited, the things we've been able to do so far. We haven't won all of our games that we should have with little mental errors or serving errors, but we've really come a long way since the beginning of the year.
Do you have a lot of senior leadership, or is that helping out in your team this year to have those 5 seniors?
Yes, we've had some leadership from our seniors, but really our younger kids have really stepped up and have kind of helped fill those spots when we've needed them. So we've also kind of thought of building the team, so we're trying to use the younger kids also because they've really contributed to the team and the unity that way.
Do some of those younger kids have some varsity experience from last year?
A couple of the juniors, but not very much at all.
So you said that you feel like the team is doing well. You've had some mental mistakes and haven't won all the matches that you've wanted to. But what do you feel like your team is doing well, or what are you surprised about that the team is doing better than maybe you thought they would?
They've been really scrappy in the sense that although teams like Rich can hit really well, we've done really well to pick up the ball and play it out. Blocking, we've been a lot more aggressive and been able to read the hitters a little better, which we've been excited about. So really, our defense has been a lot better. We just have to learn a little more to put the ball down. So ending plays that way with our attackers.
So those are some of the things you feel like the team's really improved on, just the blocking. Is that something you focused on a lot in practice?
We don't focus on it a ton. Lately, we've done a lot with our front row, reading our hitters. But yes, a lot on the blocking, but also with our hitters. Because I feel our defense is pretty strong, but we just have to learn to end plays, find the holes, and put it down.
So improve a little on attacking.
Yeah.
You guys played Duchesne last Thursday.
Yeah. Really, what killed us is that we were with them the whole time, and all 3 games we just lost by a few points. But we had a total of about like 12 missed serves, which really, and we've worked on it, we've done a lot on serving, that when we miss serves, we lose games because that's a free point for them and we lose our momentum. Basically, we just missed serves, but we were there the whole time with them. Little mental errors and mistakes that need to be controlled.
Those are kind of one of those mental mistakes or unforced errors that you just given the other team points.
Exactly. Yep.
So you played Rich already once this year. Can you tell me from your perspective how that match went for Altamont?
Yeah, that was our first region match. And coming into this season, the previous coaches, my first year coaching, we didn't really have very many preseason games. And so it was really almost right after we had our first couple warm-up games, I guess, preseason games. But really, we just couldn't pass the ball. Like, we couldn't take anything up that way. On serve receive or just when they were swinging at us, we just couldn't pick up balls.
Was that a product of, I mean, you mentioned that it was early in the season. You just maybe hadn't gotten a lot of practice under your belts and into this full swing of it, or was it partly the way Rich was playing as well?
Probably, I'm sure it was a combination of both. Rich is a great team. They have great hitters, and they were just really aggressive overall that, they played well together. And I think as like a new coach and trying to find out who works well best and who has that energy on the court, we were just kind of that norming and storming and forming a team that we need to be strong together.
You obviously want to perform well and you'd like to get a win. What are your expectations against Rich today in the match?
We're really excited, especially it being our last home region game. And so hopefully the girls are fired up. They've worked really hard in practice this week, and we've told them that just like anything, we play how we practice. And so we've really tried to pick up our intensity and just go out swinging as our last home game and really just being aggressive all the way around, giving it everything that we have.
Okay. Well, thank you, Coach, and good luck today.
Hey, thank you.
Well, thanks again to Altamont Lady Longhorns head coach Jill Hicken for that interview. This is the Cindy Stewart pregame coaches show brought to you by Bear Lake Realty in Garden City and Gary McKee on the pregame show. We're about 10 minutes from the start of this afternoon's matchup, and when we come back, we'll talk to Coach Cindy Stewart of the Lady Rebels. You're listening to Abego Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and watch the game online at kadqradio.com.
Hunters, you could win a $3,000 gift certificate to Sports World by winning first place in the Big Buck Contest. Sports World certificates for second and third place, too. Stop by Castle Rock Chevrolet for details. Before you head to the hills, have Castle Rock change your oil and give your vehicle a multi-point inspection. And when you're hunting for a new car or truck, then stock the lot at Castle Rock.
We're Castle Rock.
A $3,000 prize for first place, the Big Buck Contest at Castle Rock Chevrolet. CastleRockChevy.com.
Precious time cannot be recovered once lost, said the famous Jack Sparrow. Don't lose time driving extra miles when the dental services you need are available right here in Evanston. Do you need a root canal? Do you need your wisdom teeth pulled? Are you missing teeth and want a full and perfect smile? Do you need braces? All of these services are available from our specialists right here in Evanston. This is oral surgeon A.J. Stosich inviting you to join me and my associates. Call today to schedule an appointment at 307-789-5608. That's 307-789-5608. Save your precious time.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com. Right now, the JV match in the second set, and if you're watching at KADQRadio.com, you just saw the Lady Longhorns take a 25-24 lead in set number 2, and they're going to give them the win with that one. In the JV match, apparently the 1 point will give them the victory. So we're tied in this match at 1 set apiece after the Lady Longhorns win there, 25-24. So this JV match probably going to go a little bit longer than we expected and will be a bit behind schedule. The varsity match was scheduled to begin at 12:30. And my guess is that's not going to happen until closer to 1 o'clock. So stay tuned here. We'll bring you some bonus coverage in the meantime. We'll have more of our pregame coming up as well. We'll have Coach Cindy Stewart coming up here in a few minutes, an interview with Coach Cindy Stewart talking about last week's matches. And speaking of recent matches, again, Rebels last night suffered a tough loss, 3-1 at Cokeville. It was Cokeville's homecoming and an emotional match last night for Cokeville, and that's similar to what's going on here at Altamont this afternoon. Altamont, it's their final home match of the season, and it was homecoming this week for the Longhorns. So this is a big one for Altamont. Now, they lost last night at here against Tabiona, 3-0. So Tabiona came in, got a solid victory over Altamont. Altamont, as we've also talked about, lost to Rich earlier this season. That was the region opener for both teams there at Rich back on September 6th. Rich got the win 25-5, 25-7, and 25-15. But some of that emotion and the work that Altamont has put in may play a factor in today's match and make it a closer match than that last one was. And my mistake, it looks like they do play one more point. I was thinking the team had to win by 2, and Altamont gets the point there and wins by 2. So 26-24, the final in set number 2 in the JV match. So we're tied at 1 set apiece in the JV match. Rebels took the first one 25-9, a completely different set in set number 2, though, as Altamont came out and got the win 26-24. Now, we've got plenty coming up here in our pregame. Our starting lineups will be brought to you by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff today. Beginning serve of each set will be brought to you by the station in Randolph, and our scoreboard sponsor for Rich Rebel Volleyball is You Win a Title. So that's all coming up here on our pregame show. In the meantime, because we're going to be a bit behind schedule again, the varsity match was scheduled to start at 12:30, but with the freshman match going 4 sets, again, Rebels got the win 3-1, and this JV match is going to go at least a couple more sets. We're going to be behind schedule on the varsity match, and we'll just bring you some bonus JV coverage here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com. Now, while we're waiting for the JV set number 3 to start, let's recap a little bit of action from last night's football game. Rich Rebels down at Kanab, and what a game that was. Rebels came out and played what I would say, maybe without question, their best game of the football season. They got the win 41-13 there at Kanab, and what a night it was for the offensive line, and that shows in the fact that Cash Saby had 249 rushing yards. As a team, the Rebels piled up close to 400 rushing yards, and Cash Saby is the main one there, 249 yards, 3 touchdowns on 17 carries. Chalice Myers had 67 yards on the ground. McKay Jarman, 44. Joseph Leifson had another 23 on the ground, and the Rebels took care of the football. Just 2 turnovers in the game, which is down 2 or 3 from their last couple of games, and they were able to really get the ball moving, able to hold on to the football, and that rushing game was really working. Coach Brown, in our post-game interview last night, said he was real happy with the way his team blocked. And there were a few times where Kanab, Rich would be moving the football, Kanab would take a timeout, make some adjustments, slow the Rebels down, but then the Rebels would make adjustments and just keep working at it, and they were able to really pour on some points in the second half. Rebels led 14-2 at the half, and then scored 14-7 at the half, then finished with a 41-13 victory last night. Now, with that victory, the Rebel football team improved to 5-1 on the season, and now it was a non-region game, but it was a classification game, and we may see Rich meet up with Kanab in the playoffs. And if that should happen, Rich would have that kind of that mental advantage over whether it's Kanab or Monticello, who they could match up with as well in the playoffs. But good victory for Rich last night. In other action around the state, I do know that Duchesne won last night. They got a victory over Diamond Ranch Academy, so Duchesne increases their winning streak to 41 straight, I believe. If I've done my homework correctly, I believe Duchesne is now at 41 straight victories, and that's who the Rebels will face next Friday night. That'll be at Duchesne. So that's a big one. Back into region play for the Rebels. 1A North region play next week against Duchesne, and really likely the winner of that match is going to win the region and have that number 1 seed going into the playoffs. Well, set number 3 is underway here for the JV teams. Rebels have a 1-0 lead and get a nice hit there from Ashley Grohl, and finds that the ball finds the floor, and now the Rebels lead 2-0. Again, this is set 3 for the JV team. They took the first set 25-9, lost set number 2 26-24. Rebels serve it, and Altamont keeps it in the air. They get it back over the top in 3 hits. Now the Rebels' Cornea will set it up, and Grohl just pushes it over the top. That little dump, and it's tipped right back by the Longhorns. Hit by Grohl in a diving effort to keep it alive. Kept in the air by the Lady Rebels, and they'll just get it back over the net. Now the Longhorns will set it up and push it back over. Rebels push it back over with Grohl, the hit, and the misplayed, shanked into the stands by the Longhorns, and the Rebels lead 3-0 on the Uinta scoreboard. Again, Lady Rebels JV team won the first set 25-9. And I'll have to talk with Coach Stewart to find out what kind of a difference what made in the second set, as they lost 26-24. A different Altamont team maybe was on the floor out there. Rebels lead in set number 3. If you're watching online at KADQRadio.com, there's some bonus JV coverage here. Lady Rebels leading 3-0, and now the hit out of bounds by Altamont, and the Rebels lead 4-0. And going back to serve is Rachel Meek for the Lady Rebels. Meek serving right to left if you're watching online at KADQRadio.com. That's south to north. Hit into the net by Phyllis Jessen, number 11 of the Longhorns. And now their coach Chicken wants a timeout as the Rebels lead 5-0 on the Uinta scoreboard here in this JV set number 3. In Rebels, this is a JV coverage, and the Rebels took the first set 25-9. They lost set number 2 26-24. In the freshman match, Rebels won in 4. They won 3-1. This is some bonus coverage of JV match here at Altamont High School. We got a bit behind schedule with the matches. The varsity match was scheduled to start a minute ago, but with this JV match still going on, we're going to push that varsity match back a little bit and see if these JV Lady Rebels can come up with a victory here. Now, taking a look at what else is going on in the region. In Region 17, again, Rebels are in first place, 4-0 in the region, even after last night's loss, of course, at Cokeville. Not a region game, but a tough loss. We'll see if the Rebels can bounce back from that. Tabiona improved to 4-1 with a win last night here at Altamont. Rebels struggling a little bit there to give up the point to the Lady Longhorns, and it's 5-1 on the Uinta scoreboard. And so Tabiona is in second place in the Region 17. And if you look around to the rest of the state, there's a team that really stands out on top of the standings, overall standings around the state, and that's St. Joseph. As of this week, Thursday afternoon, St. Joseph was 15-0 and had not even lost a set yet this season. And if I remember right, St. Joseph is a returning state champion from last year, so that's a tough team Rebels may have to face in the playoffs later on this season. Another point for the Altamont Lady Longhorns, and it's suddenly 5-3. The Rebels were up 5-0, and now the Longhorns on a 3-0 run as number 19, Riley Gilbert, will go back to serve. Gilbert serving left to right and serves from straight away. Her serve is long, and the Rebels will get it back, leading 6-3 in set number 3 on the Winnetalo scoreboard. Rebels took the first set 25-9, lost set number 2 26-24. Here's the serve by the Rebels, number 30. Was Shaylee Rowley. Check that. Excuse me, that was Melanie Lamborn. Rebels get a hit, but it's out of bounds, and the Longhorns will get the point. So it's 6-4 on the Winnetalo scoreboard. Bonus JV coverage here from Altamont High School. Varsity matches coming up, so don't go anywhere. We've got more of our pregame coming up as well. We'll have an interview with Coach Cindy Stewart, and that'll all be coming up here on our pregame show. In the meantime, some bonus JV coverage. Cornea will set it up for Grohl, hitting from this near side. Nice hit, and right down the line on that back line. It's a deep hit and finds that back line on the floor. And it's 7-4, Lady Rebels with the lead on the Uinta scoreboard. Seven to 4 in set number 3 in the JV match. Varsity match is coming up. Lady Rebels varsity team up here to my side, coming up here to warm up, maybe do a little pepper drill or any other drills they may warm up with here this afternoon. And do a little jogging over there. We'll see if we can grab one of them for an interview here. It's part of our bonus pregame coverage. Varsity match is coming up, so stay tuned. Nice serve to the back row by the Altamont Lady Longhorns. Libero, number 27, Kylie LaRose, who's actually, according to Coach Hicken, is going to be one of the starters in the varsity match as well. And it's 7-6, a one-point set here. Set number 3, tied at one set apiece. Grohl tips it up high. Cornea now will set it, and she's bumped into by one of her teammates. And Katie Johnson, trying to get into position, bumps into Cornea, makes it tough to get a good set. And the Rebels can't get it over the net. So the Lady Longhorns tie it up at 7. 7-7 on the Uinta scoreboard. Grohl will pass up front. Cornea sets it for Grohl. Coming up from the back row. Hit is blocked. The Rebels tip it back over, or pass it back over. Now it's back to the Rebels, and they'll set it up. Grohl at the net. Can't get underneath it. She hits it into the net. Longhorns back on top. 8-7 on the Uinta scoreboard. And a timeout on the floor. Oh, we've got the varsity match coming up for you here at KADQ-FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. Right now we're in JV action. Freshman sophomore team won over Altamont 3-1. Rebels got the win in the freshman game, and in the JV match, we're in set number 3. Rebels took the first set 25-9. Altamont took the second set 26-24. And here we are in set 3. Altamont has an 8-7 lead. And it's been quite a change from that first set. The Rebels dominated. Set number 2, and so far here in set number 3, Rebels unable to find their stride as Altamont has made some kind of adjustments and really keeping it much closer. Taking a look at the history against with these two teams, it's really been all Rich. If you go back about 11 years, Rich has not lost to Altamont, and each of the matches that I could find any information about, it was Rich winning 3-0. And so Rich has dominated this series against Altamont, and that includes a match earlier this year when Rich won 3-0 at home to open the region play. And Rich got the win 25-5, 25-7, and 25-15 earlier this season. Meanwhile, JV action on the court. Rebels can't keep it in the air. The hit is out of bounds, and the point will go to the Rebels. So we're tied back up at 8 in set 3 of the JV match. Ashley Grohl to serve. Good, strong serve, and the pass is shanked by Hannah Maxfield and out of play. And so the Rebels lead 9-8. Again, this is JV match coverage for you here on KADQ-FM 98.3. Grohl again to serve. Right to left. It just skips the top of the net, and a nice pass to just keep it alive and keep it in the air. Altamont passes it across. Rebels set it up. A hit into the net by Rich Rebels. And, boy, as soon as she hit it, she knew a little bit of frustration on her face. She knew it was going into the net. So we're tied at 9 now. And that was Sammy Cook with the hit into the net there. Rebels get it back over after the serve. Now the Altamont Longhorns tip it up. Grohl dives to keep it alive and keep it in the air. Now Grohl will pass up front. Cornea will set it to this near side. Here's the hit by the Rebels, Rachel Meek. Back over the top by the Longhorns. Rebels will set it up back row to Grohl. Grohl's hit is passed up front. And the Longhorns will set it up. Here's the hit into the corner, and it finds the floor. And a nice hit by number 30, Shaylee Rowley, a freshman. And Altamont back on top, 10-9 on the UNT title scoreboard. Bonus coverage of the JV match here at Altamont High School. Served by the Longhorns. Now Cornea will set it up. Here's the play, and the hit is long by Meek and out of bounds. And the Lady Longhorns up by 2, 11-9. Set number 3, Rebels took the first set 25-9, but it's been a different story in sets 2 and 3. And now that serve skips the top of the net and then dives to the floor. And that's one of those lucky breaks as Tori Huff, the server for the Altamont Lady Longhorns, gets that ace. And it's 12-9. Rebels down by 3 in set 3 of the JV match. Pass up front. Cornea will set it up for Meek. Meek pushes a little dump into the center of the court. And the defense is there. Now they'll set it up and a hit into the net by number 21, and that is Mikkel Zeman, one of the varsity starters as well. So it's a few varsity starters out there as Coach Hicken and the coaching staff of the Lady Longhorns trying to come up with a victory here in the JV match. But the Rebels will send Zoe Pinter back to serve, and she'll serve to the back row. The pass is out toward the side, and the Longhorns will just keep it in the air and bump it over the net. Now the Rebels get the hit set up, and it's a good hit, but received well. Lamborn got the hit. Now back to the Rebels. And Lamborn again will just dump it over the top, trying to find that hole. Altamont is there, and they'll hit it back over. Now Grohl will pass it up front, right into the net. Cornea will push it toward the corner. A diving effort. The Altamont, 3 or 4 of them give chase, but they're not quite quick enough. Longhorns can't get back there, and Rebels get the point. They've made a little bit of a run here. Now it's 12-11 on the UNT title scoreboard. Set number 3 in the JV match, tied at 2 sets apiece, as Pinter goes back to serve once again for the Lady Rebels. Varsity match coming up here before too long. We'll also have more of our pregame show with an interview with Coach Cindy Stewart of the Lady Rebels. Now the Longhorns set it up, and wow, somehow able to get it over the net. They scrambled, but they got it over. Kept it alive. Now the Rebels hit by Meek, and Altamont able to receive. They'll pass it around and hit it over. Rebels set it back up. Here's the set for Meek, and she'll just bump it over to the back row. Altamont will set it up, and here's the hit. Grohl is there. Nice pass by Grohl up front. Cornea sets it up again for Meek. Hit to the back row, and the Longhorns are there. They'll set it up, push over the top. Grohl's pass up front, and they'll set it up high for Meek. Meek tips it over. Long rally here for both teams as Altamont again pushes it over. Cornea passes up front. He'll set it up and hit over by Lamborn. Now pushed over by the Longhorns, back to the Rebels side of the net. They'll set it up for Meek. Meek's hit to the back row, tipped high into the air. The pass will go up front, and the Longhorns will set it up over the top. Rebels now set it up once again. Cornea sets it to Grohl on the back row. The hit is just long out of bounds, and a last-second play. Number 28, Tori Huff out there, was about ready to hit it. She heard some teammates yell out. She pulls back, and the ball finds the floor out of bounds. And the Longhorns now lead 13-11 on the UNT title scoreboard. Tied at 1 set apiece here in set number 3, the JV match. Varsity match coming up in just a bit as the pass goes into the stands after that serve by Zeman. Longhorns get the point. Zeman will serve again, but serves low and into the net. And Rebels will get the point, trailing now 14-12 on the UNT title scoreboard. Back to serve for the Rebels goes number 21, Sammy Cook. Nice serve to the back row. The serve receive is shanked, and the Rebels within 1, 13-14 on the UNT title scoreboard. Here, bonus JV coverage at KADQ FM 98.3. online at kadqradio.com. Altamont barely able to keep that one alive and get it over the net. Cornea will set it up here to this near side for Meek. Hit tops the net, but Altamont is there, and they'll push it back over the top. A dump now up into the net. Cornea will set it up. Here's the play. Lamborn hits. It's tipped right back to her. She pushes it back over the top. Now the Longhorns just kind of tip it over. Little dump over the top by the setter. Now the set for Meek, and Meek hits it hard and misplayed by the Lady Longhorns, Riley Gilbert, and the point will go to the Lady Rebels, who now have tied it up at 14 in set number 3 of this JV match. Tied at 1 set apiece, and we've got this JV bonus coverage for you. Rebels will set it up. Cornea right in the net, just puts it up high so that Lamborn could push it, trying to find the corner, but not there, and now the Longhorns set it up, and a hit into the net by number 30, Shaylee Rowley. And Rowley's hit into the net gives the Rebels the lead, 15-14 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels trying to make a run here, make a push. Sammy Cook served to the back row, hit up high, and now the pass, the set not great, so they'll just hit it over the top. Now it's Rebels. Cornea will set it up for Lamborn. Lamborn's hit tipped at the line by the blocker, and now the Longhorns will set it up again, push it over the top. Rebels will set by Cornea. Here's the play to Meek. Meek's hit. Nice one down low. Two Longhorns can't get underneath it as they both go to their knees, and the Rebels will take the lead 16-14 and get the victory in set number 3, 16-14, as these first 2 sets will go to 25 in the JV match, and then after that, any following sets will just go to 15. Well, it was a 1-point match, so the Rebels get to win 16-14 on the Uinta scoreboard. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do right now. We've got a late start here for the varsity match, so we're going to just go ahead and go back. Tim here helping me. He's running the camera and helping me play some of the things we've got. We're going to just go back and play that interview with Altamont head coach Jill Hicken here in just a second. We started about 10 after 12. Yeah. We started about 10 after 12, but with this delay in our coverage, the freshman match went 4 sets. Rebels got the win 3-1. This JV match is just about to start the 4th set. JV Lady Rebels lead 2-1, but a 4th set coming up here in just a bit. So in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and go back to play more of our pregame show. Here's Jill Hicken, head coach of the Altamont Lady Longhorns.
I'm here with Altamont Longhorn head coach Jill Hicken. And, Coach, thank you for joining me for our pregame interview today.
Yep, you're welcome.
How do you feel like things are going for your team so far this season?
We've actually been really excited, the things we've been able to do so far. We haven't won all of our games that we should have with little mental errors or serving errors, but we've really come a long way since the beginning of the year.
Do you have a lot of senior leadership, or is that helping out in your team this year to have those 5 seniors?
Yes, we've had some leadership from our seniors, but really our younger kids have really stepped up and have kind of helped fill those spots when we've needed them. So we've also kind of thought of building the team, so we're trying to use the younger kids also because they've really contributed to the team and the unity that way.
Do some of those younger kids have some varsity experience from last year?
A couple of the juniors, but not very much at all.
So you said that you feel like the team is doing well. You've had some mental mistakes and haven't won all the matches that you've wanted to. But what do you feel like your team is doing well, or what are you surprised about that the team is doing better than maybe you thought they would?
They've been really scrappy in the sense that although teams like Rich can hit really well, we've done really well to pick up the ball and play it out. Blocking, we've been a lot more aggressive and been able to read the hitters a little better, which we've been excited about. So really, our defense has been a lot better. We just have to learn a little more to put the ball down. So ending plays that way with our attackers.
So those are some of the things you feel like the team's really improved on, just the blocking. Is that something you focused on a lot in practice?
We don't focus on it a ton. Lately we've done a lot with our front row, reading our hitters. But yes, a lot on the blocking, but also with our hitters. Because I feel our defense is pretty strong, but we just have to learn to end plays, find the holes, and put it down.
So improve a little on attacking.
Yeah.
You guys played Duchesne last Thursday.
Yeah. Really, what killed us is that we were with them the whole time, and all 3 games we just lost by a few points. But we had a total of about 12 missed serves, which really, and we've worked on it, we've done a lot on serving, that when we miss serves, we lose games because that's a free point for them and we lose our momentum. Basically, we just missed serves, but we were there the whole time with them. Little mental errors and mistakes that need to be controlled.
Those are kind of one of those mental mistakes or unforced errors that you just given the other team points.
Exactly. Yep.
So you played Rich already once this year. Can you tell me from your perspective how that match went for Altamont?
Yeah, that was our first region match. And coming into this season, the previous coach, this is my first year coaching, we didn't really have very many preseason games. And so it was really almost right after we had our first couple warm-up games, I guess, preseason games. But really, we just couldn't pass the ball. We couldn't pick anything up that way. On serve receive or just when they were swinging at us, we just couldn't pick up balls.
Was that a product of, you mentioned that it was early in the season. You just maybe hadn't gotten a lot of practice under your belts and into this full swing of it, or was it partly the way Rich was playing as well?
Probably, I'm sure it was a combination of both. Rich is a great team. They have great hitters, and they were just really aggressive overall that, they played well together. And I think as a new coach and trying to find out who works well best and who has that energy on the court, we were just kind of that norming and storming and forming a team that we need to be strong together.
You obviously want to perform well and you'd like to get a win. What are your expectations against Rich today in the match?
We're really excited, especially it being our last home region game. And so hopefully the girls are fired up. They've worked really hard in practice this week, and we've told them that just like anything, we play how we practice. And so we've really tried to pick up our intensity and just go out swinging as our last home game and really just being aggressive all the way around, giving it everything that we have.
Okay. Well, thank you, Coach, and good luck today.
Hey, thank you.
Well, thanks again to Altamont Lady Longhorns head coach Jill Hicken for that interview. This is the Cindy Stewart pregame coaches show brought to you by Bear Lake Realty in Garden City and Gary McKee on the pregame show. We're about 10 minutes from the start of this afternoon's matchup, and when we come back, we'll talk to Coach Cindy Stewart of the Lady Rebels. You're listening to Abego Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and watch the game online at KADQradio.com.
Hunters, you could win a $3,000 gift certificate to Sports World by winning first place in the Big Buck Contest. Sports World certificates for second and third place, too. Stop by Castle Rock Chevrolet for details. Before you head to the hills, have Castle Rock change your oil and give your vehicle a multi-point inspection. And when you're hunting for a new car or truck, then stock the lot at Castle Rock. We're Castle Rock. A $3,000 prize for first place. The Big Buck Contest at Castle Rock Chevrolet. CastleRockChevy.com.
Precious time cannot be recovered once lost, said the famous Jack Sparrow. Don't lose time driving extra miles when the dental services you need are available right here in Evanston. Do you need a root canal? Do you need your wisdom teeth pulled? Are you missing teeth and want a full and perfect smile? Do you need braces? All of these services are available from our specialists right here in Evanston. This is oral surgeon A.J. Stosich inviting you to join me and my associates. Call today to schedule an appointment at 307-789-5608. That's 307-789-5608. Save your precious time.
So, Coach, let's talk a little bit about Friday night's win over Tabiona. What were your thoughts overall about it?
I was real pleased that the girls played upbeat because sometimes playing them was not such a we're not very motivated. But I did tell them they'd be much improved, and they were much improved. And I thought we did some great things. Ellen and Cammie both had like 15 kills apiece, but mostly Reagan Lloyd had 10 perfect passes. So that was excellent.
Have you been seeing Reagan improve throughout the season? Is that something 10 for 10 is probably not what you were expecting, but have you seen some good improvement out of her this season?
Oh, most certainly. She's at the top of the ladder. She feels good about herself. It's just this drill we do. She's been working hard to get there, and she knows she's capable of doing it. And we really need her to pass that well because she passes out the middle for us.
I thought Tabiona, you've been talking that they're much improved. They came in having beaten the 3 other teams in the league, in the region, in 3 straight games. They'd only lost 1 match all season. Did you expect a little bit more out of them, or did your team just really step up and play well?
No, I thought they were much improved, and we did play well, but they were dramatically improved. so I was just thrilled that they had improved that much and gave us that much of a game. So that was I thought we played good. And, of course, they're going to be up. The kids are going to be up because of homecoming.
We talked last week during that homecoming week that there might be a lot of distractions. You might be worried about that, but that didn't seem to be an issue.
No, I really was worried about distractions because of homecoming and playing Tabiona as the opponent because we have beaten them so badly in the past. But I think the senior girls really tried to make the most out of the last homecoming, and so the other girls just caught fire. So I thought we played really well, and I was real pleased with our output.
Now, what about this week? You've got one that's not a region match, but it's a big one, I understand, against Cokeville on Friday.
Friday at 4, 5, and 6. They're probably our biggest rivals. They're close to us. They're 30 miles away. A lot of kids know a lot of people over there. We have our own superintendents from there. We have several people in our school district that went to school there. So it's a natural rival, and they're always very good. It's always good competition, so it's a fun match for us.
Now, you guys played at a tournament there to start the season off, but didn't actually play against Cokeville, right?
No, you have to be in their pool. I wasn't in their pool. And then the first day, depending on how you do, puts you in different brackets. So, yeah, we never came across each other. But we did see them play. They'll be very competitive.
Have they been real competitive and they've had a good program throughout the years?
Oh, most definitely. I've been here for a long, long time. And, back 15, 20 years ago, they had won 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 state championships as well as us, So they've always been really, really good. And so they play really good volleyball over there.
And then Saturday, you get back into region play at Altamont, right? Is that something is it a long trip over there?
Yes, it's a 4-hour trip, and we weren't supposed to play. It was supposed to be only Saturday off for the whole month of October, but that happens to be the UEA weekend, and we were supposed to play them on Saturday. We go out there every year and play all 4 of our conference matches in one sweep. We play Tabby and Duchesne on Friday, and then we play Altamont and Manila the next day. And for some reason, I think they have a new principal, and they just did not want us to play on a Saturday with UEA and the deer hunt. I'm pretty sure it had a lot to do with it. And I'm surprised that we didn't battle them on it a little bit, but we didn't. So we're going out there Saturday, and we play at 10, 11, and 12, I think, so we can hurry and get back.
That's a team you've already faced once this year. They came here to Rich about a month ago.
Yeah, they're one of the weaker teams in our region. They start.
So looking at, you're about halfway through the region season. How do you feel, or where do you feel you're at? Do you feel you're in a good position?
I think we're in a really good position, and the next weekend is our Richfield swing. We won that tournament for 3 years in a row, and our JV has won it 3 years in a row. So the JV kids, they're the kids now that are the varsity, so they're kind of looking forward to see how they can fare in the varsity level. And it's a good tournament because they're really, really good 1A, 2A, 3A schools. And so you play a pool, and then you get into a bracket. You can be in the gold bracket, the silver bracket, the bronze bracket. It just depends on how you do in your pool play the first day. And so that's always a real good tournament because also it mimics the state tournament. It has 4 courts, and they're identical to the state tournament, and they're set up exactly alike. So it's really good preparation for state. That's why I like to go to that tournament.
All right, Coach, thank you, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you very much.
Thanks again to Lady Rebel head volleyball coach Cindy Stewart for that interview. This is the pregame coaches show brought to you by Bear Lake Realty in Garden City and Gary McKee. We're about 5 minutes away from today's opening serve, and we'll be back with the starting lineups and the beginning of today's match. This is the pregame show. You're listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ 98.3 FM, and watch the game online at kadqradio.com.
Throughout our lives, there are times we may need skilled rehabilitation and nursing care or home health and hospice care. Rocky Mountain Care has been providing these services since 1990. Our skilled staff and specialized programs will meet your loved one's needs. Our staff is dedicated to a high-quality outcome for each of our patients and residents. When you or someone you love needs these professional services, think of Rocky Mountain Care. Simply the best care. www.rmcare.com.
Long lines and slow traffic. Gas prices on the rise? Save yourself a trip to the big city by stopping first at Cowboy Motor Company. You no longer have to get out of Dodge to find the best deals on vehicles. Cowboy Motor Company has them in stock. Expanding inventory and plenty of money available for lending, you can now get into Dodge at Cowboy Motor Company. Strength, honesty, and integrity. The Cowboy way. Cowboy Motor Company, 100 Wasatch Road in Evanston.
Good afternoon and welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. And if you're watching online at KADQradio.com, you've got some bonus coverage of the JV match. And we were in the middle of our interview with Coach Cindy Stewart when that match ended, and the Lady Rebels won 15-5 in set number 4. So the Rebels got the win in 4 sets, 3-1. They won the first set 25-9, 26-24. They lost the second set, but then they won the third set 16-14 and took set number 4 15-5. So freshman sophomore team and the JV team for the Lady Rebels get the win 3-1. Same scores for both of those matches, and now the varsity match coming up within just a few minutes here. The gym is kind of cleared out, at least on the floor. Players have gone into the locker rooms. They'll talk about some adjustments they want to make from what they saw in the JV match, and then they'll come out and warm up, and we'll be about ready to get underway here at Altamont High School. Now, if you're watching online at KADQradio.com, you can see how nice this gym and how nice this facility is. It was just remodeled, and Coach Stewart told me just about an hour ago, she said this is now the nicest facility in the region. It's a brand new gym. They've got a track coming up around the gym. Actually, that's where we're set up here at Altamont High School. We're on the track on the west side. Might get orientated here. If you're watching online at KADQradio.com, you're going to break the camera if you keep it right there too long, Tim. But we're here up on the track, up on the west side of the gym. That flag that you see there on KADQradio.com, that's a big flag on the south end of the gym with the scoreboard there. Across the way, the bleachers, AHS for Altamont High School, a lot of red and blue, of course, for the Longhorns here at Altamont. A brand new gym they just remodeled, and it is a very nice facility. Plenty of stands, and I imagine we'll see the stands start to fill up a little bit more as we get closer to the start of this varsity match. Again, in the freshman and sophomore and JV matches, there were Rich Rebels got the win in the freshman match 3-1. Rich Rebels got the win in the JV match 3-1 as well. Taking a look at what else is going on this weekend for both of these teams. Last night, the Altamont Lady Longhorns hosted Tabiona. And Tabiona, the only team they've lost to in Region 17 play this year is the Rich High Rebels. And that was, of course, last Friday night, a week ago from last night. The Lady Rebels got the win 3-0 over Tabiona. And so Tabiona's 4-1. They got the win last night 3-0 over Altamont, won in 3 straight. And so that's where Altamont is now. They drop with that loss their own 4 in the region. They're now 5-9 overall, and looking to pick up their first region win. So this is it's also their final region game of the season. It's their final, or not. It's not their final region game. Let me correct that. It's their final home match of the season. They finished this season on the road at Manila next Friday, and then at Uinta and at Duchesne in the coming days after that. So this is their final home match of the season, and so this is one they're going to be emotional about, trying to pick up that victory and get a win here today against the Rich Rebels. Rebels, of course, coming off a loss last night at Cokeville. And 3-1 was the final in that one. It was Cokeville's homecoming. And if you heard just moments ago Coach Cindy Stewart talk about what a heated rivalry that is, that's really, for the Rebels, their closest rivalry at about the same level. They take on other teams like, Evanston. They'll play once in a while. They'll play against Lyman and some of those other schools picking up on the schedule. But a lot of those others, as you well know, Evanston is much bigger, a 4A school in Wyoming. Lyman's 2A in Wyoming, so they're a much bigger school as well. All that music is the warm-up music for the Altamont Lady Longhorns. They are getting pumped up. They've got this pregame routine as they get warmed up, and they are ready to go here today, trying to get things going. If you're watching online at KADQradio.com, you see the Rebels playing Pepper down there on the south end of the gym. That's our right side. And you can see the Lady Longhorns coming up to the net, doing that warm-up drill, practicing hitting and attacking. And that's one of the things that their coach, Jill Hickens, said they need to improve on. She says they've been real scrappy. They play hard. She loves the heart of the team and the way they play, but knows that they need to be better at attacking, at hitting the ball, at getting those kills and those spikes. She says that's something that she knows Rich does very well, and she hopes that her team can improve on that and become a little more like the Rebels in that aspect. Well, today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff, and we'll have our starting lineups brought to you by Stacy's Repair coming up here in just a minute. The beginning serve of today's matches, or today's sets, will be brought to you by the station in Randolph, and our scoreboard sponsor today is You Win a Title. Also, today's match sponsored by Big O Tires, by Castle Rock Chevrolet, by Wyoming Dental Specialists, Rocky Mountain Care, Simply the Best Care, and by Cowboy Motor Company. And we got our varsity match coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Rebels out on the floor, warming up. Altamont Longhorns out there as well. And in case you missed it, we brought you some bonus action of the JV coverage, or some bonus coverage of the JV action. Rich Lady Rebels got the win in 4. They won 3-1. They took the first set 25-9, lost the second set 26-24, and then took set number 3 16-14 and won the fourth set 15-5 to get the victory. Freshmen also won 3-1 here this afternoon, or it was earlier this morning actually when that took place. I want to also update you on what's happening in the coming days. We'll take a quick look ahead right now at what the Rebels have coming up. And for the Rebel football team, it's a big one at Duchesne. Now, the Rebels are coming off a big victory last night at Kanab. 41-13 was the final score on the Western Ag Credit scoreboard last night as the Rebels got that big victory over Kanab. All kinds of rushing yards. Rebels close to 400 rushing yards as a team in the game and got the victory 41-13. Now, it's a good tune-up for what's in store this next Friday night. We'll be right back down in this area as the Rebel football team will take on Duchesne at Duchesne. Duchesne won last night over Diamond Ranch and extended their winning streak to 41 consecutive victories. So Rich will be trying to break that, and more importantly, just trying to get a victory and keep themselves on top of the 1A North region standings. And that's next Friday night. We'll have pregame for you at 6:20. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock next Friday night right here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. Now, next Friday, the Lady Rebel Volleyball team is also in action at the Sevier Valley Center Varsity Tournament, also commonly known as the 1A, 2A, 3A Preview. And the Rebels, if you heard our interview with Coach Cindy Stewart a few moments ago, she loves that tournament. It's some great competition, and her team has performed well there. They've won the tournament the last 3 years in a row, both on the JV tournament and the varsity tournament. This year, they're beginning that tournament next Friday. That's October 11th. Now, we'll be at the football game Friday night, and then we'll hustle down to Richfield and bring you all the Saturday action of the Rich Lady Rebel volleyball team at that tournament next Saturday. So there's pool play on Friday afternoon. Just to give you a little bit more information about that tournament, Rich is in a pool with Panguitch, North Sevier, and Millard, and they'll play each of those teams Saturday or Friday afternoon. Based on how they do against those teams, they'll be bracketed or put into a bracket for more pool play on Saturday. And so the times will vary based on how Rich does on Friday afternoon. But they could play as early as 8:30 next Saturday morning. Matches are at 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, etc. until 1:30 in pool play on Saturday morning and into the afternoon. And then they move in based on how the teams do in those two brackets or those two pool plays combined. Then they'll be put into a single elimination tournament in the afternoon. So plenty of volleyball action coming up next Saturday as the Rich Rebels play at the Sevier Valley Center Varsity Tournament, also known as the 1A, 2A, 3A Preview. And again, that's a tournament that Coach Stewart just really loves to attend. Great competition. It's not just the 1A teams that they face there. It's some good 2A, some very good 3A teams as well. And the Rebels have won that tournament the last 3 years in a row, looking to make it 4 in a row this year. So, again, coming up next weekend, Rich Rebel football at Duchesne Friday night. We'll have it for you. Pregame at 6:20, kickoff at 7 o'clock, and then Rich Rebel volleyball all day next Saturday. And we'll have the coverage for you right here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. So coming up, we got the varsity match. Teams out there warming up right now on the floor. If you're watching online at KADQradio.com, you see the Rebels down here on the right side. That's the south side of the gym. And in this newly remodeled and newly built, I guess, Altamont High School gym, a beautiful facility. And Coach Cindy Stewart told me about an hour ago, this is now, with this new facility, this is the nicest gym in the region. And this is here at Altamont High School. JV and freshman matches earlier this afternoon. JV won 3-1. The freshmen also won in 3-1 in 4 sets. And we got varsity action coming up for you here in just a few minutes. So don't go anywhere as the Lady Rebels look to make it to 5-0 in region play. Now, it's important that the Rebels come out ready to go here, and they're going to have to bounce back from a tough loss last night at Cokeville. They lost in 4, 3-1 in Cokeville's homecoming. This is homecoming weekend for Altamont, and it's their final home match of the season. So they're coming out with some extra excitement, some extra emotion here this afternoon. Now, in addition to that, the Rebels are 4-0 in Region 17 play. Tabiona got a win last night, and I believe it was over Altamont. That was right here. I should remember that pretty easily. Tabiona got the win over Altamont last night, so Tabiona is now 4-1. For the Rebels to keep themselves alone in first place in Region 17, they're going to need to get a victory here today. Looking ahead at the rest of the season for the Rebels and what it looks like. Next weekend, they're at that tournament in Richfield, and again, we'll have all the Saturday action for you right here on KADQ-FM. The next weekend, it's that trip coming back down here when they were supposed to play Altamont, a Friday-Saturday trip where they play at Tabiona, at Duchesne, and they'll also take on Uinta High School, a bonus match in there for the Rebels. They'll play at Tabiona, at Duchesne, and against Uinta High School at Duchesne, all on Friday afternoon. And then on Saturday, they have a match against Manila, and Coach Stewart is also trying to work out another match just to get some more time on the court, hoping to get it set up against Union at Roosevelt that's Saturday the 19th of October. Then the Rebels have a Thursday match at Mountain Crest. That'll be a Thursday the 24th, and then wrap up the regular season hosting North Summit on Friday the 25th of October. Of course, the state tournament this year, the 30th and 31st, Halloween night at Utah Valley University, and any matches the Rebels have at that state tournament we'll have for you right here on KADQ-FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. Rebels warming up now, starting to spike the ball. The clock has started running down from 4 minutes. We're down to about 3 minutes left in the warm-up period, and I imagine they'll let the Rebels do their hitting here at the net, and then they'll give the Altamont 4 minutes to do the same. So we're probably about 8 minutes away from the first serve here at KADQ-FM 98.3, online at KADQradio.com here at Altamont High School. And today's game is being brought to you in part by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff, the station in Randolph, and by Uinta Title. And since we got a minute here, let's take a look ahead at what the Rich Rebel football team has coming up. Again, it's next Friday at Duchesne, and that's a big one. Then on the 18th of October, Rebels will host Altamont at 4 p.m. back there at Rich High School, and then they'll wrap up the season on the 25th of October, Friday afternoon, hosting Diamond Ranch. They'll wrap up the regular season. Playoffs start on November 1st. The quarterfinals, those will be at the home sites, and Rich still needs to win a couple more games to try and get that home site. Semifinals will be at Southern Utah University the weekend of October 8th and 9th, and then the finals at Weber State University on November 16th. Rich Rodeo Club has this month off, and they'll get back into rodeo action with the Dixie Six. 6 consecutive rodeos over the course of 3 weekends down in St. George. And it's the clubs that are hosting those rodeos are Milford, Blue Mountain, Hurricane, Dixie, Desert Hills, and Beaver. And so that's what's going on with Rich Rodeo Club. Rich middle school volleyball and football teams are in action this week. And Rich middle school football team played this morning against Kemmerer. Rich middle school volleyball team was also in action this morning hosting Big Piney and Pinedale. And coming up this next week, activities for Rich School District on the Rich School District calendar. Bookmobile will be there at North Rich Elementary and Rich Middle School on Wednesday. Parent-teacher conferences are Wednesday night. And there's a Rich High School Trust Lands Community Council meeting at Rich High School Wednesday evening at 5 p.m. Next Thursday, Rich Middle School Volleyball will host Star Valley. And then on Friday, again, as I mentioned, Rich High School will be at that 1A tournament, 1A, 2A, 3A preview at Richfield. And Rich will play some pool play matches on Friday, and then we'll have all the Saturday matches of the Rebels on right here on KADQ-FM 98.3 next Saturday. Also, this coming Friday, Rich Rebel football is at Duchesne. And then Saturday, again, the volleyball tournament continues. Rich Middle School volleyball next Saturday is at Star Valley, and Rich Middle School football is at Pinedale. That's a look ahead at what it's coming up in the next week for the Rebels and for the Rich County School District. Rebels out there warming up. They get their 4 minutes of practicing their setting and hitting, and now the Altamont Lady Longhorns will get 4 minutes to do the same. And we'll just keep it right here at KADQ-FM 98.3. You can also watch this match online at KADQradio.com. Matches earlier this afternoon, the freshman Lady Rebel volleyball team beat Altamont 3-1. JV team also won 3-1. Let's take a little quick look back at what these two teams have done against each other in the past. And that starts with earlier this season when Tabiona traveled up to Rich on the 6th of September. And that was the first region match of the season for both Rich and Altamont. And Rich got the win fairly easily, 25-5, 25-7, and 25-15. Now, looking back over the years, Rich has just absolutely dominated Altamont. And as I can only find records as far back as 2002, but in that span from 2002 to now, Rich has not lost to Altamont. And most of those, at least from what I can find, all of those, I should say, have been 3-0 victories for the Rich Rebels. So this is a team that Rich has been extremely successful against, and we'll hope to continue that here this afternoon at Altamont High School. We're about 4 minutes away from our first serve, which will be brought to you by the station in Randolph. Stay tuned here at KADQ-FM 98.3. The match was scheduled to begin at 12:30, but the JV and freshman matches went a little bit longer than anticipated. And so we're getting a bit of a late start here at Altamont High School. Well, we should be getting underway here in about 3 or 4 minutes. In the meantime, we've got a little bit more of our pregame show here. We'll bring you the starting lineups brought to you by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff. And we'll also announce those starting lineups when they do it out on the floor. But just to give them to you now, the Lady Longhorns will start number 13, Nicole Mackey, and number 24, Danelle Thacker. Those two are seniors. And then they'll start 4 juniors. And those juniors are number 21, Mikkel Zeman, number 28, Tori Huff, number 9, Jaslyn Miles, and number 8, Stephanie Seeley. Now we'll also see quite a bit of sophomore, number 27, Kylie LaRose on the floor for the Lady Longhorns. And that's the Longhorn starting lineup brought to you by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff. Lady Rebels starting lineup brought to you also by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff will be number 3, Cammie Lamborn, a senior. Number 4, Reagan Lloyd, a junior. Number 10, a senior, Ellen Peart. And if the Rebels receive, they'll start Andy Cornea, a freshman. If they serve, they'll start Emily Hopkin, number 14, a sophomore. Other starters for the Lady Rebels, number 20, Lilia Brown is a sophomore, and number 25, Danielle Hefner, a senior. And that is your starting lineup for the Lady Rebels, brought to you by Stacy's Repair in Woodrow. This is Ryan Steinekert here with you at Altamont High School. We're moments away from the start of this varsity match. Again, the Lady Rebels so far against Altamont here today in the freshman and JV matches. Rebels are 2-0. They won They won in the freshman match 3-1, and they won in the JV match 3-1 as well. So we got the pregame, or we got the first serve coming up here in just a few moments as the teams continue to warm up out there on the floor. We're counting down on the warm-up period for the Altamont Longhorns, and down to 3, 2, 1. Coach Jill Hickens said this is an emotional match for the Lady Longhorns because it's their final home match of the season. They've got a few more matches this year, but they're all on the road. They're at Manila, then at UNA, and at Duchesne. And so this is really an emotional one for them as they wrap up their home schedule right here this afternoon. And we're just about ready to get started here. Looks like we're going to have the starting lineups.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
We have, you may hear that PA announcer. If you're watching online at kadqradio.com, you see the AHS across the way. A brand new facility for the Altamont Longhorns. And one of the nicest facilities. Coach Cindy Stewart tells me is the nicest facility in the region now that this gym has been finished. And they just finished it for this school year. And I should mention that since it is the last home match of the season for the Altamont Lady Longhorns, it is Senior Day. And so they'll honor their seniors, including number 13, Nicole Mackey, out there. And so this will add just a little bit of time before we get into our match here this afternoon. You see the Longhorn Bowl there in the center of the court. Altamont's colors red and blue and some black in there, but they're in pink, the volleyball team, pink and black. And again, if you're watching online at kadqradio.com, you can see Nicole Mackey, out there on the floor. Rebels today will be in black with the white numbers. And it's Senior Day for the Altamont Lady Longhorns here at Altamont High School. Again, Lady Rebels won the JV match 3-1. Lady Rebels won the freshman match 3-1 as well. And we got varsity action coming up here in just a bit. Bailey Brinkerhoff, another one of the seniors for the Altamont Lady Longhorns. They wrap up the home season here today. They have 3 more matches this season at Manila, at UNA, and at Duchesne. And they're looking for a victory here. They haven't won yet in the region. And they're looking to play upset, trying to get a win over the Rich Rebels, who, if they are able to win today, Rebels would keep themselves on top of the Region 17 standings. Rich is 4-0, looking to make it 5-0 here today. Out there on the floor, if you're watching now at kadqradio.com, you see Bailey Jo Miles, number 6, the libero for the team. So we'll probably see her out there on the floor quite a bit as well. Also, Danelle Thacker, number 24, one of the starters for the Altamont Lady Longhorns. Longhorns were in action last night, lost 3-0 to the Tabiona Tigers. And Tabiona, a much improved team. They're 4-1 in the region, now 10-2 overall. They make that 11-2 after last night's win over the Altamont Lady Longhorns. The one other senior on the team for Altamont Lady Longhorns will be number 2.
And last but most certainly not least, number 2, Maddie Hartman.
And that is Maddie Hartman heading out onto the floor. Oh, we're just moments away from the beginning serve of this match. And the Lady Rebels here at Altamont. It's Senior Day for the Longhorns. This is their final match, final home match of the season. As for the Rebels, they've got plenty more matches coming up. They'll be, after today, Lady Rebels will play at that 1A, 2A, 3A preview next Friday and Saturday, and we'll have all of the Saturday matches of the Rebels at that tournament in Richfield. We'll have all the Saturday matches right here on KADQ 98.3 FM and online at kadqradio.com. And then the next Friday, Rebels will be at Tabiona, at Duchesne, and against UNA High School at Duchesne. And then Saturday the 19th at Manila. On Thursday the 24th at Mountain Crest, and on Friday the 25th hosting North Summit. So that's what the Lady Rebels still have in store this season on the volleyball court. A big week coming up for the Rebels next week. As I mentioned, the Lady Rebels will be at that 1A, 2A, 3A preview in Richfield, and next Friday night, Rebel football at Duchesne. So that's a big one for the Rebel football team, coming off of a win last night, 41-13 at Kanab. And what a victory that was for the Rich Rebels, a game we had right here last night on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at kadqradio.com. If you're watching online, you can see down there on the screen the Lady Rebels still waiting for this match to start, as it's senior day here at Altamont High School. Their final home match of the season. They're honoring their seniors and managers and others involved with the team.
We'd like to wish our seniors good luck.
Today's match is brought to you in part by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff. We'll give you the starting lineups here in just a moment. Once again, beginning serve of each set is brought to you by the station in Randolph, and our scoreboard sponsor today, You Win a Title. Now, on the You Win a Title scoreboard, the Rebel freshman team got the win 3-1 earlier today, and the JV team also won 3-1 earlier today. Oh, we're just moments away from our opening serve. And we'll have let teams do a little bit more warm-up, and then we'll have our opening serve. So stay tuned. We're just a few minutes away from the varsity match here at KADQ FM 98.3 and online at kadqradio.com. Rebels coming off a tough loss last night at Cokeville, lost 3-1. So they lost in 4 sets, and it was an emotional night for the Cokeville volleyball team as they were celebrating homecoming. Coach Stewart said that a prominent member of the community also suffered a stroke, she said, within the last few days or so. And so they were riding a little bit of more emotion with that. They played well, and the Rebels did not pass the ball well. And that, as we know, if you listened to Coach Stewart much in the past couple of weeks, her focus and everything they do starts with that pass. It starts with the serve receive. She said they did not do that well last night, and that led to the loss ultimately. Something they did extremely well against Tabiona last week, and something they'll need to improve on from last night and see if they can get better at for this afternoon here at Altamont. Oh, we're just a moment or two away from the opening serve here at Altamont High School. If you're watching online at kadqradio.com, the Rebels on the right side of the screen, that's the south end of the gym. And so they'll be, I believe, going right to left, that's south to north for this first set against the Altamont Lady Longhorns. These two teams met once already this season, and Rebels got the win in 3 straight. They're at Rich on the 6th of September. Rebels won 25-5, 25-7, and 25-15. And again, if you're watching online at kadqradio.com, you can just see the shiny new facility this is for Altamont High School. It was just finished for this school year. So this is a brand new facility. And Coach Stewart told me about an hour and a half ago that this is the nicest facility in the region now. If you're watching online at kadqradio.com, you're seeing the view is from west to east. There's a track that goes around the upper side of the gym. And so that's where we're set up.
join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we're just about ready to get this one underway. We'll give you the starting lineups again, brought to you by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff. And first, for the visiting Rich High Lady Rebels, senior number 3, Cammie Lamborn. Junior number 4, Reagan Lloyd, who really performed well last Friday night against Tabiona. Went 10 for 10 passing. That was something that Coach Cindy Stewart was really pleased and happy about. Number 10, senior Ellen Peart. Looks like the Rebels will be serving as Emily Hopkin comes out. She'll get the start, and she starts when the Rebels get the serve to start. So Emily Hopkin, a sophomore. Also a sophomore, number 20, Lilia Brown, and senior, number 25, Danielle Hefner. And those are your Rebel starters, brought to you by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff. Starting lineup for the Altamont Lady Longhorns is a senior, number 13, Nicole Mackey. Number 4, Bailey Brinkerhoff will be starting today. Also, for the Altamont Lady Longhorns, number 6, Bailey Jo Miles. And this is a little bit different than Coach Jill Hicken told me a couple of days ago. Also starting, number 24, Danelle Thacker. And number 2, Maddie Hartman. Coach Hicken, let me give you the final starter. Jaslyn Miles, number 9, a junior, will be starting today as well. And, of course, with number 6, Bailey Jo Miles, the libero, the final starter will be number 8, Stephanie Seeley, a junior, for the Lady Longhorns. Coach Hicken told me earlier this week that she's kind of been playing with starting lineups a little bit just so girls don't get stagnant thinking they have that starting job and will be starting no matter how they play. So she's playing, moving her starting lineup around just a little bit, and it may also play into it that she's starting 5 seniors here on Senior Day. That's probably a big part of having those 5 seniors starting here today. Well, we're moments away from the beginning serve, brought to you by the station in Randolph. Starting lineups were brought to you by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff. If you're watching online at KADQradio.com, you can see the Rebels on the right side. That's the south side of the court. We're looking west to east. The Altamont Lady Longhorns in pink and black on the left side of the court, or the north side. And Rebels with their black and white trim with the, well, they've got the, it's hard, maybe hard to see online, but if you're in person, you can see the blue Rebels across the chest. Looks like the Longhorns will serve. Hefner passes from the back row, and Peart comes over to set it for Lamborn, who will push it across the top, and she pushes it into a hole, a diving play by Danelle Thacker, but she can't get to it, and the Rebels get the point and lead 1-0 on the Uinta scoreboard to start this one off. And now Andy Cornea will check in for Emily Hopkin, and Cornea will serve. Here's the serve, and the Lady Longhorns set it up. Here's the hit, and it's hit by Jaslyn Miles, and Reagan Lloyd can't dig it up. And it's played backwards and out of bounds, and we're tied at 1 on the Uinta scoreboard. Back to serve now goes Danelle Thacker. Thacker goes to Lamborn. Lamborn moving to her side to pass it up front. Now the set for Peart, hits it over. Longhorns will set it up, and here's the hit, blocked at the net by Lamborn and Peterson, and it hits the floor on the Longhorn side of the net. So the Rebels take a lead 2-1 on the Uinta scoreboard. Lamborn goes back to serve, and you can see that wrap on her left leg. We'll have to get an update on that. The Longhorns pass it over, but we have a player in the net, and it's one of the Rebels. I think they said it was number 4, Reagan Lloyd, so we're tied at 2 on the Uinta scoreboard. Going back to serve now is number 9, Jaslyn Miles, a junior. She'll serve from straight away. High arching serve, and it's just long. Rebels let it go at the last second, It almost had enough arch on it to drop in there, but it's just long, and the Rebels lead 3-2 first set here against Altamont on the Uinetado scoreboard. Here's Peterson back to serve, and it skips across the top of the net. Altamont is there, and they'll tip it over. Now the Rebels are there, block it right back. Altamont will set it up again, and here's the hit. Blocked again by the Rebels, and the Longhorns can't keep it in the air. Rebels will now lead 4-2 on the Uinetado scoreboard. As Christina Peterson will go back to serve for Rich High. And serving right to left and serves it into the net. It's a bit short, and it's 4-3. Rebels with the 1-point lead on the Uinetado scoreboard as Bailey Brinkerhoff goes back to serve for Altamont. She'll serve from straight away. Left to right, high arching serve. That one almost brought the rain down from up above as Rebels set it up. Lamborn hits it over. Peart pushes it up top. Now Cornea will set it up to the back row, and Lloyd will just keep it in the air and bump it over the net. Longhorns will set it up, and here's the hit. Back row, Brown is there. Now Cornea sets it up for Peart. Hit down the line on the net. Did it get tipped by the Longhorns? No, I don't think it did. We're tied at 4 on the Uinetado scoreboard after that hit by Peart is out of bounds. So Brinkerhoff will go back to serve once again. Oh, no, are they going to say... Now they're giving the serve to the Rebels. And the scoreboard is going to have to update. I think it should be 5-3 then. Peart serve and ace. She finds the hole in the defense and serves the ace. And I guess they're going to say that one of the Longhorns tipped that hit by Peart down the line. And it's 6-3 on the Uinetado scoreboard after that ace by Peart. Peart's serve again down low, and Danelle Thacker can't get down underneath it well enough. She shanks it, and it's 7-3. So Peart serving strong so far. We'll see if she can continue this. Here's Peart. Again, picking on Thacker, and Thacker having a hard time with it as she's misplayed 2 of them and just let one go. And the Rebels now lead 8-3 on the Uinetado scoreboard. Here's Peart again, right at Thacker, and again shanks it and misplays. And now Coach Hicken is going to send in a substitute and try to shake things up a little bit as number 14, Hannah Maxfield, will check into the game. We'll see what Peart does with it here. Rebels leading 9-3 on the Uinetado scoreboard. And as Hatfield is there, but her pass goes over the net. Now Peart will set it up for Hefner. Hefner, the hit into the corner, right past Maxfield. Maxfield got her hands up, but not quick enough as Hefner's hit just went right on by her, and the Rebels lead 10-3 on the Uinetado scoreboard, first set. Here's Peart to the back row, and Libero tips it and keeps it in the air, but Bailey Joe Miles' pass up front is not a great one. Longhorns hit it into the net, and the Rebels lead 11-3 on the Uinetado scoreboard. Here's Peart again. Thacker is there, but the passer is Bailey Joe Miles, and now they hit a double hit by Bailey Brinkerhoff to try and keep it in the air, and it's 12-3. Rebels with the lead on the Uinetado scoreboard on an 8-0 run with Ellen Peart serving. Peart again the serve. The pass, not great, but it's good enough for the Longhorns to set up a play. Nice diving effort by Brown to keep it alive. Now Peart will set it up for Lloyd. Lloyd's hit almost finds the floor. And now a nice job by Altamont. Rebels not in position. Peart dives trying to get to it, and she actually was out of bounds. If she'd let it go, it would have been a point for the Rebels. But since she tips it, it's 12-4, and Altamont will get the serve, trailing on the Uinetado scoreboard. Here's the serve by number 2, Maddie Hartman. Rebels will set it up, and Lloyd just pushes it over. The set was a bit low, and she wasn't quite over there just yet. And now a tip by the Longhorns into a hole of the Rebel defense, and it's 12-5. Longhorns, a couple straight points here, and the Rebels lead 12-5 on the Uinetado scoreboard. Meanwhile, the pass by Lilia Brown into a hole of the Rebels' own defense. The pass not where it should have been, and it's 12-6 on the Uinetado scoreboard. Here's the pass by Lloyd. Peart has to really hustle to get to it. The set, and Hefner just pushes it over. Altamont scrambling a little bit. They'll just keep it in the air and push it and bump it over the top. Now Peart will set it up for Lloyd. Lloyd's hit to the back row. Miles is there. The hit down this near side is out of bounds, and the Rebels will get the point 13-6 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels lead as Reagan Lloyd goes back to serve. Lloyd serves from just about straight away. They're in the paint on the basketball floor. The pass is shanked into the stands, and the Rebels will get the point and lead 14-6 on the Uinta scoreboard. And Lloyd will go back to serve once again. Now a substitution. Tori Huff will check in. Huff to the back row there, and we'll see where Lloyd goes with it. She goes right at Miles on the far side, the libero, and she'll pass it up high. They'll keep it in the air and get it over the net. Now Peart will set it up. Here's the play for Lamborn. She hammers that right past the blockers, and now the Altamont Longhorns just scramble to get it back over the net. Rebels will set it up again. Peart for Lamborn here on this near side. Push into the hole, just tips it over the blockers. Finds that gap in the defense, and the Rebels lead 15-6 on the Uinta scoreboard. Nice tip by Lamborn. She has that great court vision. Here's Lloyd again to the back row with the serve, and the Longhorns will set it up. Tipped at the line by Hefner, who now just taps it over and out of play or out of bounds. Looks back to Coach Stewart, who gives her a little bit of coaching. Hefner just smiling down there. Knows she made a mistake, and she'll fix it next time. Back to serve goes Nicole Mackey, the senior. Serves up high. Hefner passes up front to Peart. Peart will set it up for Lamborn's big hit. Blockers are there, but it falls between the blockers and the net. And that was Jaslyn Miles and Stephanie Seeley right there trying to block that hit by Lamborn. But it finds the floor, and the Rebels lead 16-7 on the Uinta scoreboard as Hefner goes back to serve again. Goes to the back row, passes it to the back row, and now the Longhorns will just have to bump it over the net. Peart will set it up here to this near side for Lamborn. The push into the corner, and she finds it. Perfect placement, and the Rebels lead 17-7 on the Uinta scoreboard. That's the Peart. She's got such an arsenal. She can hammer it hard. She can just tip it over the top. She can push it into the corner or across the angle. That time she just finds the corner. Here's Hefner with the serve once again to the back row. Here's the pass. Not a great pass, but they do set it up to the back row, and a nice hit by Hartman. Now the Rebels set it up for Lamborn, who hits it into the blockers, and it's misplayed or misblocked by them, and the Rebels lead 18-7 on the Uinta scoreboard. If you're watching online at KADQRadio.com, the Rebels serving right to left, and they're having a lot of success right now with Hefner serving and Lamborn up on that front row. Here's the Longhorns, the set and the hit into the net by Miles, and it's 19-7 on the Uinta scoreboard. This one was close. We were tied at 2 before the Rebels went on a big run, and now they lead 19-7. The serve, now the Longhorns will set it up, hit into the net by number 14, Hannah Maxfield, and the Rebels lead 20-7 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Hefner once again, going to the back row. The pass on the back row, and now Maxfield will just have to bump it over. Peart passes up front. Hopkin will set it up, and Hefner just has to bump it over. Rebels not able to set up the play there. Here's the set and the hit. Rebels blocked at the net by Peterson, but a nice hit by Jaslyn Miles. She didn't put a ton on it, and that kind of threw the Rebels off a little bit, and that makes it 20-8 on the Uinta scoreboard. The serve is long by Stephanie Seeley, so the Rebels will get the point. 21-8, they lead on the Uinta scoreboard, and now Andy Cornea will check in and go back to serve for the Rich Rebels. Again, leading 21-8 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Cornea's good, strong serve. Just clears the net. The Longhorns are there. They'll set it up. Nice hit tipped at the net by the Lady Rebels. Now they'll set it up for Peart. Peart's push over into the hole. The serve or the pass goes back over the net. Now the Rebels will set it up again. Cornea for Lamborn, who pushes it into the corner, finds the hole and finds the floor. It's 22-8 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels within 3 of getting a victory here in set number 1. Cornea again to serve for Rich High. You see a lot of girls get power from a jump serve. Cornea somehow finds the power. She just takes one step. Watch this. If you're watching online at KADQRadio.com, a good strong serve, a little bit too strong. It's long and out of bounds, and it's 22-9 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels leading and within 3 of a victory in set number 1. Here's the pass by Lamborn up front. Cornea will set it up for Lamborn. Big hit, blocked, and boy, that much power on it. The block was right there on just off the far side of the center court, and it's blocked clear here to the near side, almost into the stands, and out of bounds. So the Rebels get the point and lead 23-9. Right there at the net, Longhorns will set it up. The tip at the net, double hit by Jaslyn Miles as the Rebels were there, blockers, and Miles just trying to keep it in the air. She can't do it without hitting it twice. So it's 24-9 on the Unitado scoreboard. Here's the Lamborns jump serve. Pass way up high out of bounds, but the Longhorns will keep it alive and get it over the net. Lamborn, the pass to Cornea. Cornea sets it up for Peart. Peart, big hit, dug down by the Longhorns, and now they'll set it up. Here's the hit by Miles. Cornea's there. Rebels will set it up. Peterson sets it for Reagan Lloyd, who pushes it over the blocker, and the Longhorns are there. Now they'll set it up. Here's the play. Rebels trying to scramble to get to it. It was tipped and then misplayed by Rich High, so the Altamont Longhorns keep themselves alive for another moment. It's 24-10 on the Unitado scoreboard, and Miles will go, Jaslyn Miles, a junior, will go back to serve for the Lady Longhorns. Miles from straight away, left to right. If you're watching online at KADQradio.com, you see that high arching serve. Lamborn passes up front. Peart's hit is long, so it's 24-11 on the Unitado scoreboard. Point will go to the Longhorns there. Here's Miles again. Lloyd's pass up front real low, and the Rebels just keep it alive. They keep it in the air and push it over the top. Longhorns will set it up, and here's the hit by Hartman. Now the Rebels set it up. Cornea for Peart. Peart's big hit. Oh, right between the defense. She finds the seam, and that ends set number one. Rebels get the win 25-11 on the Unitado scoreboard. Rebels making quick work of Altamont here in set number one. Rebels got the victory 25-11 on the Unitado scoreboard. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll be back with set number two. You're listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
It's time for the pre-winter checkup special.
Big O Tires, we go the extra mile, revving up the service to make you smile. We're in the business of customer pleasing, all the right service for all the right reasons.
Receive an oil change, 22-point inspection, brake check, and tire rotation for just $59.99.
Extra miles, the way we go, we got you covered at Big O.
Big O Tires in Evanston, 607 Cheyenne Drive.
Hunters, you could win a $3,000 gift certificate to Sports World by winning first place in the Big Buck Contest. Sports World certificates for second and third place, too. Stop by Castle Rock Chevrolet for details. Before you head to the hills, have Castle Rock change your oil and give your vehicle a multi-point inspection. And when you're hunting for a new car or truck, then stock the lot at Castle Rock.
We're Castle Rock.
A $3,000 prize for first place, the Big Buck Contest at Castle Rock Chevrolet. Castle Rock.
Precious time cannot be recovered once lost, said the famous Jack Sparrow. Don't lose time driving extra miles when the dental services you need are available right here in Evanston. Do you need a root canal? Do you need your wisdom teeth pulled? Are you missing teeth or want a full and perfect smile? Do you need braces? All of these services are available from our specialists right here in Evanston. This is endodontist Les Walker inviting you to join me and my associates. Call today to schedule an appointment at 307-789-5608. That's 307-789-5608. Save your precious time.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. Rebels got the win fairly easily in that first set, 25-11. And that was the final score of set number one on the Unitado scoreboard. Again, 25-11. The Rebels had a real nice run. They were tied at 2, and the Rebels took a 1-point lead and led 4-3. Rebels went on an 8-0 run before Altamont was able to get any points, and then the Rebels went on another big run. They led 15-7, and went on from that point on a 10-4 run to get the victory. And really, you know, frankly, after last night's what I'm sure was an emotional match at Cokeville, they honestly looked a little bit flat coming out here, and it's fairly. I got to be honest, it's kind of a quiet gym. I feel like I'm the only one making any noise some of the time here, you know, between serves and things like that. We're not getting a lot of crowd noise. But the Rebels come out, get the victory, 25-11 in set number 1, and now we'll serve to start set number 2. So we'll have Lloyd, Peart, Brown, Hopkin, Hefner, and Lamborn out on the floor here in set 2. Again, Rebels won set 1, 25-11 on the Uinetano scoreboard. And if you're watching online at kadqradio.com, Rebels are on your left side. They'll be serving left to right. That's north to south here at Altamont High School. This brand new gym, and it's a real nice facility. Here's the whistle, and here's our beginning serve brought to you by the station in Randolph. And Lloyd must have had a score to settle with Danielle Hefner because she just beamed Hefner in the back of the head with that serve. And the Rebels trail 1-0 on the Uinetano scoreboard. Here's the serve. Hefner's dig goes over the net. She went down to the floor trying to make that serve receive, and the Lady Longhorns lead 2-0 on the Uinetano scoreboard as Stephanie Seeley goes back to serve. Lloyd passes up front. Nice pass, and Lamborn sets it up, or Peart set it up for Lamborn, who pushes it into the corner, and the Rebels are on the scoreboard, trailing 2-1 on the Uinetano scoreboard. Hefner going back to serve now for Rich High. And Hefner will serve from just closer to this near side, left to right. And she goes to the back row. It's passed up front by Zeman, and they'll just set it over the top, a bump over the top. Now Hefner's pass up front, not great, but Peart gets backdoor. Lamborn pushes it into a hole, and it finds the floor. A diving effort by Seeley kept it in the air, but then nobody else could get to it, and we're tied at 2 on the Uinetano scoreboard. Rebels with 2 straight points here to tie us up. Hefner back to serve. Here's the serve to the back row, push up front, and now the dump by the setter, but the Rebels are there. Peart will set it up for Lamborn. Here's the hit, and that one way long. And she just comes back kind of smiling and talking with her teammates. Knew she misfired on that one, and it's 3-2. Longhorns with the lead on the Uinetano scoreboard as Tori Huff, a junior, goes back to serve. From the far side, serve to the back row. Lamborn passes to the side. Now to Peart. Now Lamborn will just push it over, trying to find that hole in the corner on the angle. Longhorns scrambling to keep it in the air. Now they'll just bump it over the top. Lloyd passes up front. Peart back set for Hopkins. Hopkins, good, nice hit, but the Longhorns are there, and they'll bump it back over. Now Peart will set. Peart passes. Hopkins set. Big hit by Lamborn down the line, and the Longhorns can't get there. We're tied at 3. And the Rebels get the point there. Now Andy Cornea checks in for Emily Hopkin, and Cornea back to serve for Rich High. Here's the serve by Cornea. Takes a little off it, a little more arch, and the Longhorns will set it up. Now the hit over. Cornea passes up front. Peterson sets it for Peart. Peart the hit to the back row, and Miles is there. Longhorns will set it up. Here's the hit, and this one way long. If you're watching online at kadqradio.com, the guy in the stripes that just about took it to the face right there was the PA announcer to announce the seniors here on Senior Day at Altamont. Rebels lead 4-3 on the Uinetano scoreboard. Longhorns will set it up, and now we'll have a point for the Rebels. It's a carry called against Altamont, and Rich High leads 5-3 on the Uinetano scoreboard. Cornea back to serve. Cornea goes to Miles on the back row. Now the Longhorns will set it up. Nice hit across the angle, and Peterson's set is into the net. Peart can't get it over the top, and it's a point for the Longhorns. Rebels now lead is cut to 1, 5-4 on the Uinetano scoreboard. Set number 2, Rebels took the first set 25-11, and now the serve by number 9, Jaslyn Miles, is into the net. Her palm sounded like it was just open a bit too much on that serve. Had a big slap instead of a hit, and it's 6-4. Rebels with the lead on the Uinetano scoreboard. Nice serve, and to the back row, Miles. Her serve receive is shanked into the stands, and the Rebels lead 7-4 on the Uinetano scoreboard. Here's Lamborn again with that running jump serve. Miles' pass goes high, but it's a pretty good placement, and the Longhorns will push it over. Now Cornea will set it up for Peart. Big hit! Almost finds the floor. A diving effort by Stephanie Seeley keeps it in the air, but not long enough for anybody else to get there. And the Rebels lead 8-4 on the Uinetano scoreboard. Here's Lamborn once again to the back row, and not played well. Tori Huff shanks it, and the Rebels lead 9-4 on the Uinetano scoreboard. Lamborn back to serve again. And she goes to that back row, and boy, she finds the seam. Number 2, senior Maddie Hartman was able to get over to it and keep it in the air, but her pass goes up into the bottom side of the net, and the Rebels lead 10-4 on the Uinetano scoreboard as Lamborn goes back to serve again from the near side, left to right, goes to Miles. Miles' pass goes over the net, and Hefner will set it up. Now Cornea sets it for Peart. Peart, the big hit. It's tipped at the net, and then Miles can't dig underneath it. She hits it back toward that south end of the gym where the cheerleaders are, and it's 11-4. Rebels lead on the Uinetano scoreboard. Here's Lamborn. Lamborn serve on the back line. And Miles had a tough decision to make. She decided to let it go, and it's in. It's on the line. Rebels lead 12-4 on the Uinetano scoreboard, and they're on a big run here. They've scored 7 straight. Rebels with the lead. You're listening to a Big O Tire of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
Long lines and slow traffic. Gas prices on the rise? Save yourself a trip to the big city by stopping first at Cowboy Motor Company. You no longer have to get out of Dodge to find the best deals on vehicles. Cowboy Motor Company has them in stock. Expanding inventory and plenty of money available for lending, you can now get into Dodge at Cowboy Motor Company. Strength, honesty, and integrity. The Cowboy way. Cowboy Motor Company, 100 Wasatch Road in Evanston.
12-4, Lady Rebels with the lead on the Uinetano scoreboard. Welcome back to Altamont High School and a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. Here's a serve by Lamborn, again picking on Miles, and Miles' pass goes up under the net. And the Rebels lead 13-4 on the Uinetano scoreboard. Rebels led 5-4 a few moments ago when Lamborn went back to serve, and again her serve misplayed. Maddie Hartman passes it over to the scores table, and it's 14-4. With Lamborn serving, the Rebels on a 9-0 run and counting. Lamborn again to serve, going to that back row. Miles gets a decent pass this time, and the Longhorns will hit it over. Cornea, now Peterson will set it up for Peart. Peart to the back row. The Longhorns will set it up, and not a great set, but a hit across the top. Hefner now passes, and Cornea sets it up for Peart. Here's Peart, big hit to the back row, and the Longhorns are there. Now they'll push it over. Lamborn passes up front. Cornea again for Peart. The hit to the back row. Miles, a nice job. She goes to the floor to keep it alive and pass it up front. Longhorns get it over. Hefner passes, and the set for Peart again. Miles is there. Nice play. And the Longhorns keep it alive. Now Peart passes. Cornea back. The set for Peart. Peart's hit. This time right down the line and right at junior Stephanie Seeley, who can't get her hands up quick enough. Peart just hit it right past her, and it's 15-4. Rebels with the point and leading on the Uinetano scoreboard. Here's Lamborn again to serve. Goes across the angle. Miles' pass is out of bounds, but playable, and the Longhorns will bump it over. A dive by Lamborn to keep this one in the air. Now Lloyd pushes it over the top, and the Longhorns will get it back. Longhorns hit it over the net. Lamborn back row, passes up front to Cornea. Cornea sets it up for Lloyd. Lloyd to the back row. Miles is there, passes it up front, and they'll hit it over. Just a bump over the top by the Longhorns. Now Peterson sets it up for Lloyd. Lloyd pushing into the corner. Miles is there. Nice pass up front. They'll set it up. Here's the hit. Out of bounds. Out of bounds last by Nicole Mackey on that hit. And after that long rally, the Rebels lead 16-4 on the Uinetano scoreboard with Lamborn back to serve once again. And this time she serves a bit long. She was serving, trying to go down this near side line. And it went just a bit long on her. Gives the Longhorns the point at 16-5 on the Uinetano scoreboard. And that was an 11-0 run for the Rebels to give them that big lead. Rebels get it over the net after the serve, and now the Longhorns will set it up. Here's the hit, and it's out of bounds. Not hit well by Phyllis Jessen. And Rebels get the point. Now leading 17-5 on the Uinetano scoreboard as Lilia Brown checks in to serve. Brown serves from the far side, and it serves it low into the net. Boy, that would have been a tough one to handle if it cleared the net, but doesn't get over the top, and it's 17-6. Rebels with the lead on the Unitalo scoreboard as Jessen goes back to serve. No, that's Zeman. Check that, Zeman. Now Cornea will set it up for Peart. Peart just tips it over, almost finds a hole in the defense, but now Jessen will tip it over. Now Hefner just right back over the top, and the Longhorns will set it up, push it to the back row for Hartman. Now Cornea will set it up for Peart. Peart's hit almost into a hole, but the Longhorns are there once again, and they'll set it over the top. Now Hefner is there to block it. Longhorns scrambling to keep it in the air. They do get it over the net, but Hartman's hit is into the or just out of bounds, right toward the Rebel bench, and the Rebels now lead 18-6 on the Unitado scoreboard with Ellen Peart going back to serve. Rebels went on an 8-0 run when she went back to serve in the first set. Her serve to the back row, and the Longhorns able to get it over the net just with a bump. Rebels will set it up for Hefner, and she just pushes it into a hole. A diving effort by Mikkel Zeman. She keeps it in the air, but not very much. Just a real low ball, and the Rebels get the point. 19-6 leading on the Unitado scoreboard. Here's Peart, just a tip serve. She barely gets it over the net, and Longhorns keep it alive. Now the Rebels will set it up for Lamborn. A big hit from the back row. She hammers that one home, and the Rebels get the point. Lamborn and Peart back there just laughing about that last play because that serve did not go the way they wanted it to. But the end result still the same. Rebels get the point and lead 20-6 on the Unitado scoreboard. Timeout on the floor. We'll take a quick one as well. You're listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
Throughout our lives, there are times we may need skilled rehabilitation and nursing care or home health and hospice care. Rocky Mountain Care has been providing these services since 1990. Our skilled staff and specialized programs will meet your loved one's needs. Our staff is dedicated to a high-quality outcome for each of our patients and residents. When you or someone you love needs these professional services, think of Rocky Mountain Care. Simply the best care. www.rmcare.com.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. Rebels here at Altamont leading 20-6 on the Unitado scoreboard in set number 2. Lady Rebels won the first set 25-11, and they went on an 11-0 run just moments ago. It was tied at 3. Rebels built a 16-4 lead and now lead 20-6. Peart's serve is the pass down low. Rebels block it back to the Longhorns. Now the Longhorns will just bump it over. Brown will pass it up front. Peart will set it for Hefner. Hefner's hit into the net. And point goes to the Longhorns now. It's 20-7 on the Unitado scoreboard as Phyllis Jessen will go back to serve. Longhorns almost out of rotation. Jessen's serve about 10 feet too long. Had good power on it, but just got it up too high, and it sailed on her. So it's 21-7. Rebels with the lead on the Unitado scoreboard as Reagan Lloyd goes back to serve. Her serve to the back row and passed up front by Zeman. Now they'll set it up, and the hit is going to be way long. Tori Huff, the set was out away from her. She had to back away and hit it off her back foot, and that's made it sail long. So 22-7 Rebels lead on the Unitado scoreboard. Here's Lloyd. Miles passes up front. Nice dig on that serve, and the Longhorns will just set it over the top. Now Peart a back serve, back set for Hopkin. Nice hit by Hopkin, but the Rebels are there. Push over the top, and Stephanie Seeley pushes it a bit far. It's out of bounds, and it's 23-7. Rebels with the lead on the Unitado scoreboard, knocking on the door of a victory in set number 2. They won the first set 25-11. Here's Lloyd's serve. Passed up front. Now the Longhorns will set it up, and a big hit, but into the net by Tori Huff. And it's a set point now. Rebels leading 24-7 on the Unitado scoreboard. This is set number 2. Rebels lead 1-0 in the match. Here's Lloyd. And the pass at the back row. The Longhorns will just have to hit it from the back row, and it's hit out of bounds by Maddie Hartman. And the Rebels will get the win 25-7 on the Unitado scoreboard here in set number 2. So the Rebels lead 2-0. They took the first set 25-11. Now they win set number 2 25-7. Rebels looked a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more energetic in that second set. Got the win 25-7. Set 3 coming up. Stay tuned for it. We'll be back with it in just a minute. You're listening to a Big O Tire of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball here at KADQ FM 98.3. And watch these matches and football games. We've got Rich Rebel football and volleyball here online at KADQradio.com.
It's time for the pre-winter checkup special.
Big O Tires, we go the extra mile, revving up the service to make you smile. We're in the business of customer pleasing, all the right service for all the right reasons.
Receive an oil change, 22-point inspection, brake check, and tire rotation for just $59.99.
Extra miles, the way we go, we got you covered at Big O.
Big O Tires in Evanston, 607 Cheyenne Drive.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. Ryan Steinekert here with me is Tim Benson, and Tim doing a great job here on the camera work and running the ads, and I want to thank you, Tim. You're doing great. Rebels with the lead 2-0 in this match, and the Rebels took the win in set 1 25-11. They won set 2 25-7. And lead 2-0 in the match. Now, it's not too different from what Rich did at Rich against Altamont. Rich got the win in set 1 25-5. They won set 2 25-7. Set 3 was a bit closer, 25-15. Rich got the victory. That was on September 6th. Now, we'll see what happens here in set number 3. Team's still down there on the floor talking. Rich Rebels will be on the right side. Serving right to left, that's south to north. And if you're watching online at KADQradio.com, you should be able to see the Rebels and Coach Stewart just rejoined the huddle there on the bottom right side of the screen. And boy, that second set, it was tied at 3. Rebels pushed ahead by 2, and then the Altamont Lady Longhorns made it 5-4. Rebels had just a 1-point lead. 5-4. Rebels went on an 11-0 run and continued that. To finish that match from 5-4, Rebels went on a 20-3 run to get the victory in set number 2, 25-7. That's how dominant the Rebels have been here today against Altamont, and for the most part in the history of the series with these two teams. Rich Rebels, looking back to 2002 is as far back as I could find any records. Rebels have not lost to Altamont, and right now leading 2-0 in this match. Rebels on their way to sweeping Altamont once again this season. Again, Rebels got the win over Altamont 3-0 at Rich on September 6th. Rebels should be receiving to start this third set. Again, they won set 1 25-11, and they won set 2 25-7 on the Winnetitle scoreboard. And if the Rebels are receiving, which I believe they are, they'll have Hefner, Cornea, Peart, Lloyd, Lamborn, and Brown on the floor. Looks like that's what we've got. And back to serve goes Seeley for the Longhorns. Lamborn passes. Now Cornea sets it up for Lamborn, who pushes it back to the far corner. Longhorns will set it up. Here's the hit, and it's on the line. A nice hit, finding the angle by Torrey Huff. And the Longhorns lead 1-0 on the Winnetitle scoreboard. They took the lead in set number 1, 1-0. Actually got up to 2-0 before the Rebels scored. Here's Cornea on the set. Hefner, the hit. It's off the top of the net, and the pass back over by Huff finds the floor. Oh, no, that was Stephanie Seeley who went down, dug it up, and passed it back over. A little bit unintentional there, but it worked for the Longhorns. They lead 2-0. Here's Peart's pass up into the net. Cornea's there, though, and Cornea sets it up for Peart. Big hit, tipped by the blockers. Now the Longhorns will set it up. Here's the hit. Peart is there. She'll pass it up front. Now the set, and for Peart. Peart's hit, and the dig is shanked by number 27, Kylie Rose, rather. Kylie LaRose. And the Rebels will get the point. Now trail 2-1 on the Winnetitle scoreboard, and Peart will go back to serve. Running jump serve to the back row. The pass goes over the net. Lamborn will set it up for Cornea. Cornea. Lamborn passes to Cornea. Cornea set it for Lamborn, and Lamborn's hit finds the floor, and it's 2-2. We're tied up on the Uinetado scoreboard. Peart back to serve for the Rebels. Her serve long to the back row, and reaching out to try and play it goes Mikkel Zeman, the junior, and she cannot play it well. Shanks it, and it's 3-2. Rebels with the lead on the Uinetado scoreboard as Peart goes back to serve once again. Peart serving right to left, and she puts that arching high serve on there. It almost fools the Longhorns. They get it back over. Now the Rebels tip it back over. Longhorns tip it back to the Rebels, and the Rebels will set it up to Lamborn. The hit is blocked, but it's blocked into a hole of the Rebel defense. It finds the floor, and we're tied at 3. The point goes to the Longhorns there. And we're tied at 3 on the Uinetado scoreboard with Hannah Maxfield going back to serve, and she serves into the net. So Rebels regain the lead 4-3 on the Uinetado scoreboard, and Danielle Hefner will go back to serve. We'll have Reagan Lloyd, Andy Cornea, and Cammie Lamborn on the front row. Hefner serve a beautiful ace. If you're watching online at KADQRadio.com, she took the angle from the far side to this near side. It just dropped to the floor right in front of Maxfield, and the Rebels lead 5-3 on the Uinetado scoreboard. To that corner again goes Hefner, and the Longhorns able to keep it alive and hit it over the net. Now Cornea will set it up. Here's the play to Lamborn, pushing it into the back corner, and just a swing and a miss by Stephanie Seeley. And the Rebels' lead is now 6-3 on the Uinetado scoreboard, as Hefner will go back to serve again. Hefner goes to the back row, passed up front by LaRose. Now they'll set it up and a hit, but it's going to be long by Jaslyn Miles. And the Rebels now up by 4, 7-3 on the Uinetado scoreboard. Here's Hefner going to the back corner, and Hartman passes up front. They'll set it up, and here's the hit. Peart passes it way up high. Now Cornea will set it up for Peart. Peart hits from the back row. Longhorns will receive and set it up. And the hit from the far side comes to this near side by Zeman, and it's long and out of bounds. Rebels get the point 8-3 on the Uinetado scoreboard. Hefner will go back to serve once again for Rich. Right to left, she serves from the far side. Back row, here's the pass up front. Longhorns set it up, and the hit again long by Mikkel Zeman. Her last hit was long to the side. That hit was long to the back of the gym. And the Rebels lead 9-3 on the Uinetado scoreboard. Here's Hefner, again from the far side, going right to left, and is kept in the air by the Longhorns, and they'll bump it over the net. And, Brown dives to the floor and plays it. She's out of bounds and hits it into the stands. Would have been a point if she let it go, but she plays it, and it's a point for the Longhorns, who now get the serve back, and Jaslyn Miles will go back to serve. High arching serve. Peart passes up front. Cornea sets it up for Lamborn. Coming in fast from the near side. She hammers it home, and it's 10-4. Rebels get the point on the Uinetado scoreboard, as Emily Hopkin will check back in. Lilia Brown checks out. And Cornea goes back to serve for the Rebels. To the back row, they'll pass it up front. Longhorns set it up. Not a great set. It's into the net on the hit by Tori Huff. She was coming in from the back row, had to stop, get her feet underneath her and try to hit it, and just didn't have enough time to get a good hit into the net. Cornea to serve again. Goes back there to Huff. Huff will pass it up high. Now they'll set it up, and the hit over by Phyllis Jessen. Now the Rebels will set it up. Cornea for Lamborn, and she hammers that one to the floor. She finds the angle, and that was only about just behind that 10-foot line. She hit it about 12 feet from the net to the floor. That's a big hit by Lamborn, and the Rebels lead 12-4 on the Uinetado scoreboard. We're going to have a timeout on the floor. We'll take a quick one as well. Rebels leading 12-4 on the Uinetado scoreboard. You're listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball on KADQ-FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com.
Hunters, you could win a $3,000 gift certificate to Sports World by winning first place in the Big Buck Contest. Sports World certificates for second and third place, too. Stop by Castle Rock Chevrolet for details. Before you head to the hills, have Castle Rock change your oil and give your vehicle a multi-point inspection. And when you're hunting for a new car or truck, then stock the lot at Castle Rock.
We're Castle Rock.
A $3,000 prize for first place, the Big Buck Contest at Castle Rock Chevrolet. CastleRockChevy.com.
12-4 Lady Rebels with the lead on the Winnetano scoreboard, and Rebels took the first set 25-11. They took set number two 25-7. So they have dominated this match, and so far leading 12-4, and they have the serve, dominating in set number 3. Looking for a 3-0 victory here as Cornea serves. The Longhorns will set it up. They get a nice pass, and here's the set. Tipped at the net by the Rebels, and Hopkin can't keep it in the air. So the point goes to the Longhorns, and it's 12-5 on the Winnetano scoreboard. Rebels up by 7. Here's Huff going back to serve, and she serves it into the net. The Rebels get the point and lead 13-5 on the Winnetano scoreboard. And now Cammie Lamborn will go back to serve from the far side, going right to left. The jump serve is into the net. That's not something we see from Cammie very often. But she does have that left leg wrap. We'll have to ask about that in our post-game interview with Coach Cindy Stewart and find out that might be hampering Cammie just a little bit, just enough to have her serve it into the net. Here's Zeman to the back row. Peart passes up front. Cornea sets it up for Peart on this near side. Hit to the back row. The pass goes back over to the Rebels. Now Cornea will set it up again to Peart on the near side. The push over the blockers. Longhorns are there, and they'll set it up. Here's Jessen, the tip over the top. Cornea's pass, not great. Now the Rebels, Lamborn, will just push it over to the corner. Longhorns are there. The dump, and a beautiful dump by Stephanie Seeley. She's the setter. She just dumped it over the back, just over her head, behind her, and finds the floor. It's 13-7. And that was really a nice play by the Longhorns on that one. Lamborn's pass, meanwhile, is shanked back toward the south end of the gym. That's the Rebels' backside, and it's 13-8 as the Longhorns are on a 3-0 run and within 5. Here's the serve. Lamborn passes up front to Cornea. Cornea sets it up. Here's the hit by Peart, and that ends the run right there. Peart hammers it into the hands of Phyllis Jessen. It's angled down toward the floor, and the Rebels get the point, leading now 14-8 on the Winnetano scoreboard, with Reagan Lloyd going back to serve. Lloyd serves long, but the Altamont Longhorns play it. They'll set it up and hit it. Now Cornea passes up front. Brown will set it up for Peart. Peart pushing it into, trying to find a hole, and it's passed back over the net by Huff and out of bounds, and the Rebels get the point. 15-8, Rebels with the lead as Lloyd goes back to serve once again. And the Rebels ahead by 7 on the Winnetano scoreboard. Longhorns scrambling to keep it in the air. They get it over the net by Jessen. Now Cornea will set it up for Lamborn on the back row. She hammers it. The pass goes into the net, tips the top of the net, and then drops back down on the Longhorn side. And the Rebels will get the point. 16-8. They lead on the Winnetano scoreboard. Man, that was a big hit by Lamborn there. Here's Reagan Lloyd back to serve again. To the back row and shanked by Huff. Lloyd found the seam, and Huff just couldn't get over there quick enough. Couldn't move her feet, and then just couldn't play it, trying to hit it from her side. So the Rebels lead 17-8 on the Winnetano scoreboard, and Lloyd back to serve again. And now a whistle, and we're going to have a substitution. Checking in will be number 6, there we go, Bailey Jo Miles, who was the libero for much of this match, but now has the pink jersey on. She passes up front. Nice pass. Here's the hit by Jessen. Lamborn is there after it's tipped by the Lady Rebel blockers, and now not a great set, so Peart will just bump it over the top. Longhorns will set it up. Here's the hit. Nope, just a push over the top, and Lamborn will pass up front. Cornea sets it for Peart. Peart's push into the hole. A diving play by Miles, but she gets underneath it, but hits it into the hand of her teammate, and it's straight to the floor, and the Rebels lead 18-8 on the Winnetano scoreboard. Here's Lloyd. Again, the serve to the back row, passed up front, and now hit on top of the net, and if nobody touched it for the Rebels, it should be a point to Rich High. Yeah, that went across the top of the net, rolled across the top, kind of tiptoed across there, and then out of bounds. So the Rebels get the point and lead 19-8 on the Uinetado scoreboard. Here's Lloyd. Again, the serve to the back row. Miles lets it go. It was in the seam, and it's on the floor inbounds. Miles and LaRose let it go between them. They thought it was long, but it was not. And the Rebels lead 20-8 on the Uinetado scoreboard. On a 7-0 run here with Reagan Lloyd serving. Back row, they'll pass it up and hit it over the net, but Miles hits it way long. And Rebels lead 21-8 on the Uinetado scoreboard. Lloyd back to serve again. To the back row, passed up front, and the Longhorns now set it up. Get a good pass set, but the hit is long and out of bounds. Big hit by Danelle Thacker, but she hits it long, and the Rebels lead 22-8. On the Uinetado scoreboard. Reagan Lloyd back to serve again. Rebels now starting to knock on the door. We're going to have a timeout on the floor. We'll take a quick one as well. Rebels leading 22-8 in set number 3. They won the first two sets, 25-11 and 25-7. And we'll be back with more of a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and watch it online at kadqradio.com.
Precious time cannot be recovered once lost, said the famous Jack Sparrow. Don't lose time driving extra miles when the dental services you need are available right here in Evanston. Do you need a root canal? Do you need your wisdom teeth pulled? Are you missing teeth and want a full and perfect smile? Do you need braces? All of these services are available from our specialists right here in Evanston. This is oral surgeon A.J. Stosich inviting you to join me and my associates. Call today to schedule an appointment at 307-789-5608. That's 307-789-5608. Save your precious time.
Rebels won the first set 25-11. They took set 2 25-7, and they're leading 22-8 here on set number 3 on the Uinetado scoreboard. Reagan Lloyd serves. Back row, it's passed up front by Zeman. Now they'll set it up, and a good hit by Jessen into the corner. Lamborn dives, but she can't play it well, and it's out of bounds off the Rebels. 22-9, Longhorns end that run. It was a 9-0 run by the Rebels. And now back to serve goes Jessen. This is number 11, Phyllis Jessen, who serves. Lloyd passes up front. Cornea sets it for Peart. Peart finds the angle and hammers it home. Rebels lead 23-9, and just like that, Rebels get the serve back. And Emily Hopkin will go back to serve for the Rich High Rebels. Lamborn, Lloyd, Peart, Cornea, and Hefner also on the floor for Rich High, as Hopkin will serve from the right side. Nice serve across the angle, and the pass, not a good one. It's passed into the bench by Kylie LaRose, and it's game and set point. 24-9, Rebels with the lead on the Uinetado scoreboard. Set and match point. Here we go. Hopkin passed up front by Miles. Now they'll set it up, and here's the push, and a nice placement by the Lady Longhorns. Nicole Mackey did what we see Lamborn do all the time. She just pushed it into a gap in the defense, and it's 24-10 on the Uinetado scoreboard as Stephanie Seeley goes back to serve for the Lady Longhorns. Rebels with a set point here, leading 24-10. Seeley's serve to Lamborn. Lamborn passes up front. Cornea will set it up for Hefner right there at the net. Hit into the net, and that's a point for the Longhorns. Rebels hit it on a fourth hit. They got it over, but of course that's not allowed. Here's Seeley. Lamborn's pass into the stands. And Rebels getting a little bit lazy here, it looks like, as they're leading 24-12 now and have a victory just within reach. We'll see if they can pull it off. Peart sets it for Lamborn on the back row. She'll push it across. Now the Longhorns will set it up. Here's the hit, blocked or tipped by the Rebels. Peart goes down, and her attempt to dig it goes into the stands, and it's 24-13 on the Uinetado scoreboard. Longhorns going on a bit of a run here. The Rebels led 22-9. Longhorns on a 4-1 run. Here's Peart, Lloyd sets it up for Peart. Peart pushes it over, trying to find a hole. Now the Longhorns having a hard time keeping it in the air. They can't do it in 4 hits, and the Rebels will get the win 25-13 on the Uinetado scoreboard and win this match 3-0 as our final score. Rebels get the victory here at Altamont 3-0. 25-11, 25-7, and 25-13 on the Uinta title scoreboard. That's the end of the third set action and the end of the match. Coming up, we'll recap the match set by set. We'll also visit with head coach Cindy Stewart. And I talked with Coach Stewart and asked her if either she would come join me or send one of her players up to join me. So we'll see which we get. This is a Big O Tire of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ 98.3 FM. And watch these games online at KADQRadio.com.
Precious time cannot be recovered once lost, said the famous Jack Sparrow. Don't lose time driving extra miles when the dental services you need are available right here in Evanston. Do you need a root canal? Do you need your wisdom teeth pulled? Are you missing teeth and want a full and perfect smile? Do you need braces? All of these services are available from our specialists right here in Evanston. This is oral surgeon A.J. Stosich inviting you to join me and my associates. Call today to schedule an appointment at 307-789-5608. That's 307-789-5608. Save your precious time.
Throughout our lives, there are times we may need skilled rehabilitation and nursing care or home health and hospice care. Rocky Mountain Care has been providing these services since 1990. Our skilled staff and specialized programs will meet your loved one's needs. Our staff is dedicated to a high-quality outcome for each of our patients and residents. When you or someone you love needs these professional services, think of Rocky Mountain Care. Simply the best care. www.rmcare.com.
It's time for the pre-winter checkup special.
Big O Tires, we go the extra mile, revving up the service to make you smile. We're in the business of customer pleasing, all the right service for all the right reasons.
Receive an oil change, 22-point inspection, brake check, and tire rotation for just $59.99.
Extra miles, the way we go, we got you covered at Big O.
Big O Tires in Evanston, 607 Cheyenne Drive.
Hunters, you could win a $3,000 gift certificate to Sports World by winning first place in the Big Buck contest. Sports World certificates for second and third place, too. Stop by Castle Rock Chevrolet for details. Before you head to the hills, have Castle Rock change your oil and give your vehicle a multi-point inspection. And when you're hunting for a new car or truck, then stock the lot at Castle Rock.
We're Castle Rock.
A $3,000 prize for first place, the Big Buck contest at Castle Rock Chevrolet. CastleRockChevy.com.
Welcome back to a Big O Tire of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com. It's time now for the post-game show. We'll take a look back at this afternoon's match, and I'm hoping that we'll get to visit with Coach Cindy Stewart. We'll take a look ahead at what's in store for our Rebels as well. So the Rebels, a dominating victory, and I really, frankly, expected nothing less than a 3-0 victory by Rich High. They won 25-11 in the first set, 25-7 in the second set, 25-13 in the third set. Again, let up just a little bit in that third set. It's almost like they see victory is within reach, and then they kind of let up a little bit. Altamont kept battling until the end and made it a little bit closer, but really not any kind of danger or anything to panic about as the Rebels win 25-13 on the Uinta title scoreboard in set number 3 and win in 3 straight. Rebels really did it with, they went on some good streaks in the first set. It was tied at 2, and then the Rebels went on an 8-0 run. They were ahead. I should clarify. They were ahead 4-3. They went on an 8-0 run and led 12-3, and then they closed out with a 10-4 streak to win that first set, 25-11 on the Uinta title scoreboard. In set number 2, it was a similar story. They led 5-4. From that point, they went on a 20-3 run and won 25-7 in that second set. Set number 3, they used a 9-0 run midway through the set and went from a 13-8 lead to a 22-8 lead. And that really was what enabled the Rebels to get the victory and a final score of 25-13 on the Uinta title scoreboard. So 25-11, 25-7, 25-13, the victories in that set, or in this match for the Lady Rebels, winning in 3 straight. The Rebels now are 7-6. They get back above 500 overall this season. And coming up next week is a big one, that 1A, 2A, 3A preview at Richfield. That's Friday and Saturday. And we'll have all the Saturday matches for you right here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at kadqradio.com next week at Richfield. Well, stay tuned. We'll see if we can get a hold of get Coach Cindy Stewart's attention and get her up here to chat with us here on our post-game show. We'll also take a look, a little bit more detail of what's ahead for the Lady Rebels in the coming days and weeks. So stay tuned. We'll come back with more of our post-game show, including hopefully our visit with head coach Cindy Stewart. You're listening to the post-game show, and again, our final score, Rebels get the win 3-0 and 25-11, 25-7, and 25-13 on the Uinta scoreboard. This is a Big O Tire of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ 98.3 FM, and watch these matches online at kadqradio.com.
Precious time cannot be recovered once lost, said the famous Jack Sparrow. Don't lose time driving extra miles when the dental services you need are available right here in Evanston. Do you need a root canal? Do you need your wisdom teeth pulled? Are you missing teeth and want a full and perfect smile? Do you need braces? All of these services are available from our specialists right here in Evanston. This is oral surgeon A.J. Stosich inviting you to join me and my associates. Call today to schedule an appointment at 307-789-5608. That's 307-789-5608. Save your precious time.
Throughout our lives, there are times we may need skilled rehabilitation and nursing care or home health and hospice care. Rocky Mountain Care has been providing these services since 1990. Our skilled staff and specialized programs will meet your loved one's needs. Our staff is dedicated to a high-quality outcome for each of our patients and residents. When you or someone you love needs these professional services, think of Rocky Mountain Care. Simply the best care. www.rmcare.com.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at kadqradio.com. And Ellen Peart joining us now here for our post-game interview. And Ellen, congratulations on a good win this afternoon.
Thank you.
How did you feel about it?
It was fun. It was a good game.
It's a good game. Did you come in pretty confident that it would be about like it was?
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys you played against Altamont last month there at home. Was it a pretty similar match for you?
Yeah, it was, I felt like there was more competition at home, but this one was good.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit more about. We were at the football game last night in Kanab, so we don't know how exactly it went there at Cokeville. Maybe you don't want to talk about it. Was it a tough loss?
We can talk about it.
Tell me about it.
Well, we didn't serve very good. We missed like 14 serves, so that was really
wow.
bad. And our passing wasn't the best.
Was the passing improved today?
Yes, much improved.
Is that a lot of that? Is that because of the quality or the difficulty of the serve that you're facing? Was Cokeville a better serving team, I guess?
Well, no, I think it was. We didn't play as good as we normally do. Mm-hmm. Our team, we didn't have very much energy as we should have had.
Okay. Last night you didn't?
Yeah.
Did you feel like you came out a little flat today, or was the energy pretty good?
It was a little flat, but it got up there, I guess.
The competition maybe wasn't quite as much this afternoon as it was last night?
Yeah.
Okay. So next week you guys are going to be at that 1A, 2A, 3A tournament in Richfield.
Right.
Did you play mostly with the varsity last year at that tournament, or mostly with the JV?
I played with JV last year.
But the JV team won the tournament, right?
Yep.
You guys, say more.
We've won it 3 years in a row, JV and varsity.
So do you know about what the other teams that you're going to be playing in your pool play on Friday night? Do you know much about them?
I know they're pretty good. I think we're going to be facing Paiute and Panguitch, and they should be really good.
Yeah, and North Sevier is the other team. Actually, Panguitch, North Sevier, and Millard are the three teams in your pool.
Yeah, they should be pretty good.
And does it take talk about a little bit about playing in a tournament like that where you have, 3 pool play matches on a Friday and then you play an all-day Saturday. What is that like for you?
It's kind of tiring, but it's fun at the same time because you get more competition than what we have here with our regions, and it's a lot of fun.
Are these a lot of the same teams as you see every year at that tournament?
Yeah.
Okay. And who's the team that you beat? Do you remember last year in the JV match to win the the tournament? Do you remember who you beat?
I'm not quite positive. I
Okay.
think it might have been Bonneville, maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay. I kind of put you on the spot there. That was not nice of me.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
I just remember a tall blonde girl. That's all I remember.
Okay. So if we see the other team with a tall blonde girl,
Yes.
then we'll know that's the team to watch out for, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Ellen, thanks for joining us
Yes,
today.
thank you.
And congratulations again on the win.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that was Ellen Peart. Thanks, Ellen. Senior volleyball rebel here on KADQ FM 98.3, and our post-game interview. Again, our final score, Rich High Rebels get the victory in 3 straight, 25-11, 25-7, and 25-13 on the Winnetano scoreboard. Stay tuned. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back. We'll take a look ahead at what's coming up in the coming days and weeks for our Rich High Rebels. Again, final score, Rebels get the win 3-0 on the Winnetano scoreboard. The Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at kadqradio.com.
Throughout our lives, there are times we may need skilled rehabilitation and nursing care or home health and hospice care. Rocky Mountain Care has been providing these services since 1990. Our skilled staff and specialized programs will meet your loved one's needs. Our staff is dedicated to a high-quality outcome for each of our patients and residents. When you or someone you love needs these professional services, think of Rocky Mountain Care. Simply the best care. www.rmcare.com.
Welcome back to a Big O Tire of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at kadqradio.com. Rebels get the win in 3 straight, 25-11, 25-7, and 25-13 on the Winnetano scoreboard. Time now to take a look ahead at what's in store for our Rebels in the coming days and weeks, and it'll start next Friday. The Rich High Lady Rebels will be at that 1A, 2A, 3A preview at Richfield, and if you were listening moments ago, you heard Ellen Peart mention that the JV and varsity teams have won that tournament 3 years running. So they'll be looking to make that 4 in a row. And now Friday, we'll be at Duchesne for the football game. Friday night, Rich High Rebels take on Duchesne, and the pregame here on KADQ will start at 6:20. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. next Friday night as the Rebels play against the Eagles at Duchesne. And then we'll hustle down to Richfield and bring you all the action from the tournament. That volleyball tournament will bring you all the Saturday action, all the matches on Saturday from Richfield right here on KADQ. So you'll just have to keep tuned. Again, there's pool play on Friday, and then game times on Saturday will be determined by how the Rebels do on Friday. But they could play as early as 8:30 Saturday morning. So we'll just have to make sure we keep you updated, and you'll have to keep it tuned here to KADQ FM 98.3 for updates on when the Lady Rebels will play on Saturday. Now, after that, the Rich High football team will be back at home hosting Altamont on October 18th, while the Lady Rebels make their trip back down this way on the 18th and 19th. They'll play at Tabiona, at Duchesne, versus UNA High School at Duchesne, and then at Manila. That's the 18th and 19th. As for the other Rich clubs and athletics, looks like the Rich Rodeo Club has the month of October off. They'll be back at it starting November 15th with the Dixie Six. And there's some middle school activity coming up this next week. Rich Middle School volleyball team hosts Star Valley on Thursday. Rich Middle School volleyball team is also back at it on Saturday at Star Valley, and the Rich Middle School football team is at Pinedale. That takes us up to next week and a look ahead at Rich Rebel and Rich Royal Sports. And again, our next broadcast will be this coming Friday night as the Rich Rebels football team plays at Duchesne, and then Saturday we'll be at that tournament in Richfield for Rebel Volleyball. So that's coming up. That's a look ahead here on KADQ FM 98.3, and this has been the Rebels post-game show. It's been a sports production and sports broadcast of Old West Media Incorporated and Cook Brothers Broadcasting. No portion of this production can be used or rebroadcast without express written consent of Old West Media Incorporated. Once again, our final score today on the Winnetano scoreboard, Rebels win 25-11, 25-7, and 25-13. They win over Altamont in 3 straight. Join us next Friday night when Big O Tires of Evanston presents our Lady Rebels, next Friday night when the Big O Tires of Evanston presents our Rebel football team at Duchesne. Pregame at 6:20, kickoff at 7 o'clock, and then on Saturday morning, our Lady Rebels play at that tournament in Richfield. We'll be on the air. We're not sure. Again, it's pool play on Friday, and then Saturday morning, it could be as early as 8:30. So keep it tuned here at that time. Until then, go Rebels.
You've been listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High School Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ-FM 98.3 with video online at KADQRadio.com. Today's match has been brought to you by these Rebel supporting businesses and individuals. Cowboy Motor Company, save a horse, buy from Cowboy. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Castle Rock Chevrolet, we are Chevrolet. Wyoming Dental Specialists. Rocky Mountain Care, simply the best care. Today's starting lineups were brought to you by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff. The beginning serve of each set was brought to you by The Station in Randolph, and your scoreboard sponsor for today's broadcast was You Win a Title. Thank you for listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High Rebel Sports on KADQ-FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com.